Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, but I'm experiencing a challenge this side. I can't get on your side. If you can make it
No,
easy for me to get
very clearly from our side. So you can continue.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we can proceed with our program today. Firstly, I'd like to appreciate the platform that we're having, appreciating the team for connecting all those things, and all the guests, even though I'm not sure at the moment who's present or who's not present, but I greet you all who's there. But I'll also, before we proceed, request Utami Mieza to assist me and assist the meeting or the program with credentials so that we can know that who is present there, so that we can proceed our meeting. And but I know counselors, they were invited. I greet you all. Sikhuleke endlini yamakhosi asendlunkulu akhona ngaphakathi kwethu beswamemile, traditional health practitioners akhona, NGOs akhona, men's movement. I know you are invited, and others esisazothola khona kuThami ukuthi akhona, Department of Social Development. We greet you all, but I don't want to continue naming before I receive proper credentials on your side. Thami Mieza, I'm sure you are prepared on your side with my credentials so that we will able to acknowledge everyone who is present in the meeting.
Thanks, Speaker. Siyabonga kakhulu sifike kulesikhathi sokuthi siqale i-discussion yethu. Our presence today, no Prof Mbulelo Dyasi, General Secretary, Women's Sector National. Uhamba ke no Dr. Matumi Khanaga, Deputy Chairperson nationally, Women's Sector. Sibe no Sisinomfundo from DSD nationally. Sinamakhosi asendlunkulu akhona ngaphakathi kwethu. Sinenkosi uGule, sibe nenkosi uMabaso, asebekhona ngaphakathi kwethu to raise this August activity. Sino Dr. NY Mahlubi, obuya kwa Operation Sukumasake, o District Chairperson, okhona naye ngaphakathi kwethu. And bese siba nabefundisi led by uBabu Shabalala from Culture and Religious Affairs, asebekhona ngaphakathi kwethu. Sikhona ney'nduna ezikhona esizibonayo ezibuya ngaphansi kwenkosi uGule, i-Traditional Council. Sibe nama-officials omkhandlu wasemajuba. Sino Babu Wonderboy Mati, Siyabonga Mbokazi, Mduduzi Cele, Sipho Mhlongo, who are here to assist on technical aspects. Sibonga kakhulu Speaker yilaba bakhona in terms, we are also expecting others ukuthi join, especially traditional health practitioners with district. And then we're also aware ukuthi immense sector with district most connected njengamanje. Simbonile ubaba uXolani Umgoza kunene usekhonekthile, ubaba uSanele Ndlovu beconnecta ngathi une-challenge ye-network, so wasethi-ke uzodriver eze la kwi-council chamber, so uzobe esijoyina anytime kusukela manje. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Oh, thank you very much, Tamimieza, with those credentials or with those confirmation abantu abakhona. On my side, I can see ukhona provincial chair, Mazibuko, Mr. Mazibuko, women's sector. I don't know that I'm correct, but before we proceed, I'd also like to request Prof Dyasi to assist maybe with provincial leadership, a president who's connected, because I know they are leadership from national, so obviously they invited a province when they come to our district. So Prof Dyasi, can you please just confirm the presence of the provincial leadership from men's sector who are present in this program? Secretary General.
Speaker, just give us 1 minute to sort out Dyasi sound.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Speaker?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Online, we do have Deputy Secretary General, Women's Sector, Mr. Treasure Dyasi, who connected SM Tata. Thank you so much. And we do have also Amalungu, Etakwani Ime Secretariat, Mama Pauline Maketa, no Tapelo Moloto, Bonaba connected Johannesburg. Thank you so much.
And in the province, we've got only Mr. Mazibuko as the chairperson.
Yes, Ku province, Sino Tata Ulinda Mazibuko is connected as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much with those credentials. I welcome you all. Ngiyanamukela nonke nikhona ngaphakathi. Siyajabula ukuba nani and siyakwazisa kakhulu ukuthi nikwazile ukuba yingxenye yale program esikunayo. Siphinde futhi ke sikhumbule ukuthi ngabe sifune ihall enkulu kakhulu okanye saxhuma ithende elikhulu because we wanted to accommodate abantu abaningi kakhulukazi abantu besilisa baku district yasemajuba, kodwa ngenxa yama regulations akhona kumele siwalandele. Siyazi sonke ku South Africa sibhekane no COVID-19 okuyibhubhane kusibhekane nalo, kumele siqinisekise ukuthi alibhebhetheki noma akuseleleke abantu abaningi. So ingakho ke sine number elinganiselwe abantu abazoba yiphathi kwiveni ngoba nibona nibangako abanye siconnectile nabo. It's because of COVID-19 pandemic that we are facing as a country. And we also appreciate laba abakwazi ukuthi bafike kakhulukazi kumakhosi ebesiqhubeka besikade sine program nawo ngoLwesibili akwazi ukuthi afike namhlanje futhi akhona. Siyakhuleka kakhulu kondaba ezitha siyajabula kakhulu kanye nezinduna ezikhona ngaphakathi kwethu. Siyakwazisa kakhulu ukuba khona kwenu phakathi kwethu, and futhi siyathemba ukuthi ukuba khona kwenu kuzokwenza umehluko ukubuyela emuva emphakathini. Sizokwazi ukuthi esizokufunda namhlanje noma esizokhuluma ngakho namhlanje siyakwazi ukuthi sikubuyisele esizweni noma ezizweni esiziholayo njengoba singabaholi. Siyabonga kakhulu kuNkosi uGule okhona, noNkosi uMabaso okhona, uNkosi uGule oqhamuka eDannhauser, noNkosi uMabaso oqhamuka e-Utrecht eMadlangeni. Siyajabula kakhulu ukuba nani kanye nezonke izinduna enihamba nazo. Siyajabula ukubona. Siphinde sibonge futhi leadership from national for making sure that you are part of this program. Secretary General, Deputy Chairperson, Dr. Hanaha, angazi noma ngiyithole kahle ukuthi uSiyandesi ithi treasurer ukuthi ba-connect namhlanje futhi baphinde babe i-part yale program namhlanje ibaluleke kakhulu. Sizokhumbula-ke sonke ukuthi sisenyangeni kaJulayi okwaziwa ukuthiwa inyanga yamadoda, whereby amadoda kuyinyanga yawo noma kuxoxwa kakhulu ngezinto ezithinta amadoda. Siyazi sonke ukuthi ngo-August kusuke kuyinyanga yabantu besifazane, it's whereby ubona ama-programs ahlukahlukene amaningi, but ngoJune kuba kancane la ubona khona ama-programs amaningi. But namhlanje sithe njengamajuba district sizohlangana sibe ne-program yabantu besilisa irregardless of i-lockdown or ama-regulations, but we follow imithetho le khona, kodwa sizoqhubeka nayo ngoba besingesikwazi ukuyihlehlisa isihlalo besingesikwazi ukuyihlehlisa impela, because iyadingeka futhi ibalulekile. Uma sizobheka-ke nangokuhlukunyezwa abantu besifazane, izinga lakhona liyakhuphuka, siyadinga ukuthi sihlale
So, speaker, just please unmute your mic. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ngiyamangala ukuthi awusakhuluma kwathi i-host iyangi-mute. Ngiqhuba ngoba ngisekhaya. But siyabonga kakhulu, siyakujabulela lokho. Mhlawumbe umuntu akuveza ukuthi I so wish I was part of the program, the meeting ngilapho kwi-venue with all of you, but last week I tested positive for COVID-19, so I had to be isolated ngoba ningibona ngisekhaya. I couldn't be part of i-program ngibe lapho kuyona, kodwa besingeke siyihlehlise Prof, besingesikwazi ukuyihlehlisa, besizoqhubeka siyenze nangabe kuthiwa ngilele phansi, but bezoqhubeka i-program, because i-program is not about uSpeaker per se, but it's about amadoda akhona ku-district. So that's why I'm here conducting this meeting or directing this program ngisekhaya ngalo hlobo, because of the COVID-19 that we are facing. But I just want to confirm to everyone that I'm healthy, anginankinga, symptoms, nothing, but I do drink medicines, medication, but so I don't want to waste time, but we need to proceed with our agenda and the program that we are having. Sizocela udokotela uMama Mahlube owusihlalo wasukuma sakhe ku-district asamukele lapha ku-welcoming. Sihlalo, over to you. Dokotela Mahlube.
Inhlonishwa Chairperson ephakathi kwethu, may I say all protocol observed. Sorry. Egameni lika Operation Sukuma Sakhe, which is an integrated approach to service delivery and dealing with social issues around our district, you are most welcome to this meeting, which is very, very important during this Men's Month. I don't want to waste time because already we are a bit behind the schedule, but ours is to make sure that you are welcome and you are enjoying being in this district, which is Amajuba district, which is one of the districts that is very, very active when it comes to issues of social ills. It can be men's issues, it can be women's issues, it can be children's issues, but as a government of KZ and Amajuba district, we are here to service people. As you can see that we are different stakeholders that are here. We do this in an integrated fashion. You can't do it alone. We can't do it alone, but communities out there are in need of all of us. So please enjoy being here. You are fortunate you came when it's not that cold, so feel at home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahlube, for welcoming us. Indeed, we are feeling at home already. And those guests or delegates are we council chamber there. Please feel at home. And go with districts in in order to make sure that we are achieving our goals, we have to work together. We have to work together with different sectors, different organizations, so that we can make a difference in our community. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahlubi. We really appreciate even your presence. We really appreciate that. And all departments are as a country, we are facing this pandemic of COVID-19, but also we are facing the pandemic of gender-based violence. We can't run away from that fact. We know very well that in media has been showing izinto eziningi ezenzakalayo, ikakhulukazi ukubulawa kwey'ngane nabantu besifazane. So kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi uma sihlangene singamadoda noma sihlangene namadoda ukuthi sikhulume lezi zinto ezisithintayo kakhulukazi thina ngoba siphila khona la kakhulukazi kwi-district. Mawuzoya kuma nearest police station, you'll see cases akhuphuke kakhulu, kunezinto ey'ningi ezenzakalayo ngokuhlukahlukana, but sibone kufanele and kubalulekile ukuthi sibe nayo program enjengalena. So we really appreciate this program, and I so wish everyone or part of this program can go out abuyele ku-community yakhe eyindoda eshintshile kunale ndoda angene eyiyona. Without wasting any time, I'll just quickly request Professor Mbulelo Dyasi, the Secretary General of Men's Sector, to give us the purpose of the day formally. Thank you very much, Prof. Dyasi. The floor is yours.
Wonke abantu abakhona phakathi kwethu namhlanje, starting from your office speaker, ngibingelela amakhosi aphakathi kwethu, ngibingelele no National Deputy Chairperson Women's Sector, Dr. Madume Khanaga, ngibingelele nama-journalist akhona lana, ngibingelele nabantu abasiconnectile online, uComrade uSiyandesi, uComrade ubaba uLinda Mazibuko, ngibingelele no Sis Nomfundo from Department of Social Development National, ngibingelela kakhulu. Into esihlanganisa namhlanje okokuqala nje kube nemihlangano ebesinayo ne-office sika-speaker no-national before sibe kanti sihlangana lana namhlanje, lapho besizama ukulekelelana nomasipala wasemajuba ukuthi yini esingayenza ekuthenini kube nama-programs esinowenza ukulwa nale crime le esesiyibona engaka yokubulawa komama ney'ngane ezingamantombazane. Savumelana ke ukuthi masebenzisane. Last year, if not this year, besine program yokuhlanganisa amadoda asemajuba. Savumelana nalapho ukuthi singabi nama activities nje once off siphinde silahleke, masibe nezinto esizozenza ukubheka phambili. Nangixolela ke isizulu sami lesi saseSoweto sika generations, simixene nesiXhosa, kodwa ngiyathemba ukuthi ngiyangizwa. So savumelana ukuthi hayi make singenza izinto simane siziyeka, senze izinto simane siziyeka, mayibe khona into esiyenzayo. Besingakayazi ukuthi ke eMajuba College kunomntwana ozobulawa lapha ngaleso sikhathi, but besiyazi ukuthi zikhona izinto ezenzekayo kwi-communities zethu zokubulawa kwabantu abangomama, but ezo cases are not on TV, azivezwa ku-television. Savumelana ukuthi la eMajuba thina nisebenzisana ne-national, especially social development kunye ne-men's movement, so kwenza sure ukuthi la eMajuba kuba nezi programs esizenzayo. Savumelana ukuthi make sihlanganise omama nobaba ke sizwe ukuthi kahlehle kwenzekani phakathi kwethu nabomama, ngoba masifunda nasemaphepheni sibiza nemihlangano kwindawo zonke, siyazi ukuthi kukhalwa ngapha. Omama bayakhala ngapha. Fortunately, iy'tori zomama zi-recorded. You can go to a police station uzofika kunama case lapha ukuthi omama indeed bayahlukunyezwa emakhaya kune evidence alesa story nabo ukuthi hayi phela ngathi siyashaya. I remember kwenye district sake saya kuyo ethukela upside down akufani namanye ama district la eSouth Africa. Ethukela obaba abashaywayo. So zimane zivela le story lezi ukuthi nabo baba banazi inkinga and banezizathu why be commit le crime. So la emajuba sathi make senze mhlambe iprogram ehlukile make kubizwe nabo mama babe khona kule mihlangano yethu bazikhulumele nalapha besingabhekanga ukuthi manje sesikhomba nesweni omunye ukhomba omunye esweni omunye uvikela iliso lakhe, but besiyenza ukuthi mhlambi masihlangene sonke ingakhona indlela ethize nezivumelwano esinokuba nazo ukuthi senza njani ke manje ukusebenzisana njengabo baba nabo mama ukwenzela ukuthi kwindawo ehlala kuzo especially emakhaya kube nepeace, kube noxolo, abantu baxolelane, kodwa sisho ukuthi le mihlangano yokwenza icover up uma ngabe abantu sele bephula umthetho. Ngoba kunabanye la eSouth Africa abekho sure ngale mihlangano yethu mfundisi. Bacabanga ukuthi le mihlangano yethu imihlangano yokufihla igebengu. Ukuthi manje uma ngabe omunye wethu ecommit crime sizobiza le mihlangano ukuthi manje kube nama negotiations sifake phansi kwe table. Eastern Cape lapho ngiqhamuka khona recently bekuthi mangabe kudlwengulwa umntwana abazali bafuna ukuyikhuluma bodwa bade bahlabe nembuzi ukuthi lento lesiyikhulume as a community, as families. Ngaleso sikhathi umuntu isigebengu ucommit crime or bathatha umntwana bathi uyinkinga bamuse kwenye village but isigebengu sishiyeke sisale lana sona siqhubekeka nokuhlukumeza umphakathi. So we were also mindful speaker ngalezo cases ezinjalo, kodwa le mihlangano yethu yokuhlanganisa obaba nomama ayo mihlangano yokuthi manje sesifihla igebengu or sizama ukuthi manje senze indlela zokuthi icrime abantu bangayireport siyenze manje lento isintu. Asikho lana ngoba sifuna ukujika i-violence on women and children siyenze isintu, kodwa zilindelekile imbono or ama-suggestions esintu, but asizivumela isintu ukuthi kufihlwe igebengu ezirepha abantwana bethu. Leyo into angeke siyivumele, kodwa ama-interventions namakhosi singajabula ukuthi nawo asilekelele ekuthenini kuze mhlambe indlela ezithize lapho amakhosi azi ukuthi ngokwesintu izinto ezinje zisombululwa ngalendlela, kodwa ingasho ukuthi lonto manje uma ngabe umuntu ephule umthetho kufuneka siwufihle kuhlatywe inkomo ukuthi manje masiyilungise iphelele la kuthina engabusafika emthethweni. Ngizama ukuthi speaker sihlangane lana ngoba sizofuna isisombululo, sizofuna indlela esinokusebenzisana ngayo ukuthi sihlabe ukhwelo sonke. Ngiyajabula uma ngabe i-main sector ye district ikhona la ne province bazokwazi ukuthi masihambile thina basale bona belekelela umkhandlu wase majuba ukubheka phambili. Kulena yakho ke speak ukuthi so uthola icorona no deputy minister lapha ya uye wa reporter last week ukuthi naye ube infected, u-deputy minister of social development. Kodwa siyanithandazisa speaker ukuthi uNkulunkulu abe kunye nani niphile. Bakhona abantu abaphilayo kule corona. Fortunately ke wena ke awukafiki na ku 45 years, so usindile. Inkosi speaker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prof Dyasi, and the Deputy, the Secretary General of Main Sector for the purpose of the day. Ngiyacabanga it's loud and clear. Wonke umuntu uyizwile Cha isiZulu sakho sisizwa kahle Prof asinankinga sizwakala kahle, and ngiyathemba after usu elaborate more about the purpose bazokwazi wonke umuntu ongaphakathi uzokwazi ucontribute futhi abe ingxenye ye program yanamhlanje ngoba usho we're not here to point fingers ukuthi wena washaya bani wena wenzani, but we are here to make sure ukuthi wonke umuntu ongaphakathi uqhamuka nexazululo futhi lezo ixazululo siyabuyela nazo emphakathini soyisebenzisa because we're here representing umphakathi yethu. Asizile nje ukuthi siyohlala nayo information emakhaya kodwa siyo represent umphakathi esiqhamuka siyo report back to umphakathi esiqhamuke kuyona siphinde futhi practice. And also confirming ukuthi this program is part of the resolutions that we took ngathi kune men's parliament. You will remember a few months back we had a men's parliament there hosted la eMajuba kwakhona deputy minister Henriette was part of the program that day officially. This program was part of the resolutions because you know men's parliament resolutions is sihlangene kwiparliament yamadoda ukuthi azowenzeka. So this it's part of the implementation sihlalo Dr. Hanaga. I'm confirming that we are implementing the resolutions that we took women's parliament. So I'm very excited and very happy about this program ukuthi iyaqhubeka futhi ihamba ngale ndlela ehamba ngayo. Siphinde futhi ke sigcizelele ukuhlala esiphephile, wear mask all the time, keep the distance because this coronavirus, some of us sizoba health ngoba si health, some of us ingasibulala ibe ingozi kakhulu. So kumele sihlale sigcizelele lokho. Ngithandile ke uProf Dyasi uma ezoveza ukuthi ukuhlukumezeka kwabantu besifazane kukhona yonke indawo umhlaba wonke, and isikhathini esiningi kuyaye kucashwe ngosiko nenkolo okanye ngizothiwani usikompilo, indlela ekuphilwa ngayo kuleyo ndawo kucashwe ngalo ukuthi umuntu wesifazane ukuze umqondise kumele umshaye. Namhlanje noma uhle ama platforms njengalawa ayasisiza kakhulu ukuthi sikuveze noma sibaveze abantu abenza izinto ezimbi bese becasha ngenkolo noma becashe ngosiko. So namhlanje ngiyajabula kakhulu ukuthi amakhosi ayingxenye nabefundisi bayingxenye yalo hlelo esibheka yalo mcimbi noma yale program esenzayo namhlanje. Bazokwazi ukuthi basisize basivezele izinto eziyusiko ngempela noma izinto ngokwenkolo okuyizona ngempela esingakhuluma, kodwa ngiyazi futhi ngiyathemba esihlalo Dr. Hanaga alukho usiko noma inkolo evumela ukuthi umuntu wesifazane akashaye noma akuhlukunyezwe ilungelo lomunye umuntu ngokuthi ashaye. Ngoba siphinde sikhumbule futhi Dr. ukuthi we are not here only about the women ashaya abantu besilisa. Uchazile ukuthi kwenye ama district nabantu besifazane bayabashaya besilisa, nabantu besilisa bayabashaya abantu besilisa balwe bodwa into nje ethi violent. So si broad kakhulu ngayo, asigxilile kakhulu ey'nganeni nabantu besifazane kodwa sifuna ukuyivula kakhulu ithinte zonke izinto, each and every corner ekhona la kuthiwa umuntu uyashaywa la akukho la kunamadoda ama-gay men nawo aphila ngokuhlukumezeka emphakathini ngoba ephumela obala ukuthi umuntu uyi-gay noma indlela aphila ngayo yile, bemshaye beze bemkhande ngamatshe afa abanye bayama-lesbian, uyavela ukuthi yena umuntu uphila ngalo hlobo bemshaye besho ukumbulala. So namhlanje sifuna ukugeqa amagula noma sikhulume ngazo zonke izinto ezithayifani nalezo khona sizokwazi ukuthi sikhande umphakathi noma i-society okuyiyona yona ukuthi wonke umuntu angaphila kuyona kube ibe normal ngale ndlela ukuthi akekho osaba ukuphumela nangaphandle. Siyabonga kakhulu with i-purpose eqeda kuthulwa ke uDokotela uProf Dyasi Secretary General women's sector. As we are proceeding with our program, I think one of the things engikhohle ukuthi ngiyenze uma ngiqala ukuthi siyifunde program yonke siyibone si-adopt ukuthi sizosebenzela phekwayo. Okay, but I can still do that. By the way, I'm the chairperson here, so I can do that. Opening isiyenzile uRef Shabalala osenzele yona, then kwaskoba welcoming eyenziwe uDokotela Mahlubo osenzele yona wasamkela kahle. Papers of the day yenziwe uProf Dyasi sizwe sonke. Bese ukuthi number 4 it's violence against women and children. Bese ukuthi 4.1 type of abuse, 4.2 impacts of abuse on the victims izoyenziwa uDokotela Uhanaha, the deputy chairperson, women's sector. Bese number 5 kuma discussions whereby I'll appreciate the opportunity leyo ukuthi wonke umuntu uzokwazi ukuthi abe yingxenye. Aphinde futhi akhulume anikeze futhi nama-directions nama-solutions esizowathola lapha ku-item number 5. Then number 6, my response to the discussions. 6.1, change and get help. 6.2, positive behavior. Number 7, remarks by Amajuba district. Then kube i-way forward bese kuba siyawuvala umhlangano wethu i-closure. Imi kanjalo i-program yethu yosuku and sizoyilandela ngaphandle kokumosha isikhathi. Sizoyilandela nje ngendlela efanele because asifuni ekugcina kosuku ukuthi siphume singazi ukuthi besikhuluma ngani uma singazwanga, kodwa siyafisa ukuthi siphume sonke sitholile noma sigenile ulwazi kule program ebaluleke kangaka. I'll just quickly go straight to item number 4, violence against women and children ezobe ihedwa noma ezobe ilidwa udokotela uHanaha or deputy chairperson National Women's Sector. Dokotela, over to you.
No, thank you, Speaker. Mina igama lami uMathime Khanaka. So niyazwa ngesibongo nje ukuthi ngiphuma kuphi. So isizulu saka-Dyasi saka-generation samsiwes ke sikamva. So ngizolokha ngimisa nje ngiyangivumela nje isilungu. Ngathi ukuthi otherwise ngathi ngingena too much ukuthukana nokuthukana. Ngicela nje ngitholele. I'll be doing a presentation from my side. Maybe if I can request if you can reduce your volume. No, reduce the volume. Once again, welcome everyone to the program of the day. Nzotacha on both speaker. Item 4 and 5, which is also discussing issues that may lead to gender-based violence. Okay. And then hopefully after the presentation, sizo ngena nje deep, and give each other a way forward. And just in terms of the presentation, background in Yoguti, what is Takwani Reme? Then Sizwakuma objectives. Then I'll touch on DOP, and as well as cultures of gender-based violence. Uti Zaranjan, Uti society ibe violent. And then we'll also touch on areas of focus and strategies for gender equality. UTC deal with some of these issues and then look on to the way forward. Itakwani Rime, the campaign, yes, Venda, Itakwani Rime issued Let's Stand Together. In 2015, we met, but we called the current President Ramaphosa, to the Constitutional League in Johannesburg as Amateur of South Africa. And having worked in the space of this issue, gender-based violence, for some time, we seem worried with the results because we're having a lot of dialogues, matching, but when we check our results, when ministers of police, they report every year, we couldn't see the impact. Actually, sometimes even it was getting worse. Once the more we have dialogues, the more we have violence. So we called the president to say, but something is wrong here. We're having all these programs and there seems to be no results. And as a matter and we came up with a diagnosis. And one of the problems that we identified is that our programs were to African. So it's not that we are not active. but active kumakhona wethu. Amakhosi ayenza umsebenzi wabo le, abafundisi bale, ama-NGO ale, government ile, civil society nayo ilaphaya, business nayo. So we were all fragmented in the response. And we said, no. As you all know, nangesuntu bathi, if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you must come together. So we said, no. We need a program that is going to bring us together and make sure that as much as we are individuals, but and we said through Takwane Reme, which means less than together, must organize each other. And then the next question came, Muguti, as you can see here, Takwane Reme, it institutionalizing a responsive men's movement. So we had to ask the question, what do you mean by institutionalizing a responsive men's movement? How do you organize each other practically? And through those discussions, it was agreed that we must establish men's parliaments. And the parliament was identified as a place that not only has the legitimacy and authority to mobilize us, but it's a public space. Hence, you even see the speaker leading us. Nagu National Parliament in Cape Town, we have been led by the Speaker's office there, even from our provinces, because the advantage of Parliament is that it belongs to all of us. Masaya Majuba, this place, we all belong. I'm not saying we don't belong in other spaces, but if this is a S120, some people may feel good, hey, they are not really sure if this is the space. If you must be to some NGO, some of us can say, hey, we are not part of this sector. So we just said, in order for all of us, whether you are an individual, you are a structure, you are in the faith-based, in the traditional sector, the one place as equals is definitely the council chambers at district level. In provinces, it's the legislatures, and it's parliament at national. So we established immense parliaments as that platform that we can meet as Amatot and speak with all an equal voice. But I'll get deeper into the program at Takwane Reme. So we came up with 4 main programs. Which is the first one I spoke about. The second one, Immense Charter. Immense Charter was that as Amatot, it's all good and well. We're not new to meeting as Amatot. We've been meeting. But we can also meet for other reasons. We've met for all. So each charter was very important as a process. When we are all meeting, find a document that guides us. Why are we meeting? Just like in the Bible. As an example, South African Constitution, that document that is binding the country together. So even in men's parliament, we said let's develop a men's charter, but each charter, we also agreed it can't be something that's high. We must develop it through these chambers, through legislatures, through the parliament, and make sure that all South Africans have a voice to this charter. So although in 2015, it's such an opening page, we're still defining and it's like a see, back and forth, man. You won't believe. You think it's as good in it. Gonna see argue. I've attended multiple parliaments in all 9 provinces. We've had provincial men's parliament, for men's parliament, see argue even in parliament because we have different understandings. And we won't see Russia. We'll discuss it until as South African men, we come to a consensus of agreeing with it. Because this definition, just as I'll show in the next slide, they can become a challenge and usually that can even lead to the type of violence we have. Of course, the other one is to promote men's health because of a lot of the issues we have and the crisis we have in South Africa is around health. And Masiti health, as even the mental health. Because Uba, a violent person, it's a mental health issue. And mental health, a lot of people, they think of schizophrenia or depression. No. If I can't control my anger issues, it's a mental health issues, stress, anxiety, and so forth. And then, of course, the support and awards of men who are investors. That's the other bullet point to say we need to make sure that Amadota who are building society, we recognize them, but not just the famous people, but also ordinary men in our communities. Now, so I won't take too long, but it's a very complex topic. Background, now I do more work management in NGO, but previously, having 7 years pleasure. And she's straightforward. Then see a show. Magazala, we check that part there. I know. Who's going to be a man. But fortunately, when I started working in this space, then one realized which definition then taught. It's very complex. It's not how we simplify it because we just look at the biology and genetics. Of course, in biology, there's 3 main areas. The 2 common ones is male, female, and then there's also intersex. So Konabanya Bantu, it's not 100% sure in terms of biology, Mabazana. But the most common one that you know is male and female. And then each gender is another factor that defines into. And each gender has nothing to do with the biology. Into it's a social and cultural construct. Basically, into le or sifundiswayo. The reason why I'm wearing this jacket is not because I'm born a male. It's because I was taught. Somebody taught me. I was taught that through culture, even a chisco, jacket. If you can look at us, most of us, I think most of us, what is almost fun because fundiswa. So by gender, that's what we mean. And in that change, another generation, so yes, then it's a definition of what is a man, but it's not just clothes, it's also behavior. Masculinity. Sports, rugby. So there's definitions. Those things we are taught. And amongst those definitions, of course, which I'll touch on the next slide, they can also become a little bit problematic. Things like, so those are the kind of things that can breed violence. As you know, it's not that women are not violent, but they are taught. Even those of you who've got daughters, sometimes you remember when your daughter hits someone, but if even mfana makabuya khala uthi hayi buyela umshaya ngeke bakushaya. So those are what you call masculinity, and the femininity is another form. It has nothing to do with sex. It's about a trait. What do you expect from femininity, from women? It can be if you are feminine, wear pink colors, we are pega, so there's traits that we also define along those lines. And of course, there's transgender as well. People who are moving from one gender to the other. So they may started off as identifying as men, and then they moved to women. And others who started off identifying as women and moved to men. We have those. And then there's also sexuality. Sexuality is about uti tandaba. The most common is heterosexual, but speaker, like he said, konabanya bantu again in terms of sexuality. And all these mixed of biology, ukhuliswa, and who do you relate to, they end up defining which is a very complex process that we need to discuss at length. Now, just a point that I would like to touch on, loguti city heteronomic masculinity, that's what we call it. It's about one way of uba undot, which is very rigid. So it's umdota that we kind of like begin to accept in community and say this is a picture of a man in society. The word heteronomic, it's almost like it relates to, I'll just touch on the word authority. My daughter, in charge. You must be a leader. We expect all men who have a leadership. You must command. I'm sure you can relate to these things. You must have power. And then you must dominate as a man. Now you can see, and often as society, we frame it belong here. And the challenge with that is that once a man falls out that area, they then begin to feel themselves inadequate. Or when somebody challenges your authority and you have been taught that kind of one type of masculinity, you can begin to react even violently because you feel threatened. So if you are not a man who is in leadership, if patterning daughter, as you speak, even ourselves we fight. If you look at most of our fights, whether it's a matavene or whatever, it's one of these factors. My predominance, my power. So these are the causes of our violence in society. If your power is threatened and you grew up being told that a man must be predominant, you will of course respond in a violent way, as we accept. And what that scenario does, it starts to build lesekelele. Once we grow up in this space as amadota, this is the prescription of indot. We then, even ourselves who grew up like that, sikulisa a gender society. So we become very black and white. Daughter, and then so we have a very gendered socialization, where schools are in a very specific way. And what that obviously leads to is power inequality. Not just between the genders in terms of mama nabota, but even amongst amateur, who are the inequalities, because we only accept one side of gender. And then you end up having social inequality. And then once you have that inequality, then it produces a patriarchy. Look at my patriarchy, talk to patamato. And patting daughter in a lama trait, authority, leadership, and power. And then once you have patriarchy, you have a patriarchal society. And then he has pinned the land. So if you want to understand how do we deal with gender-based violence, and we can send this presentation with him and I. So these are some of the things that we need to understand with how is this culture built. Because if you go to other societies that are peaceful, you realize that they've broken this cycle, where they've allowed for a range of acceptability of being a man. Yes, you can be powerful, but in a space where your power is threatened, you're able to let go and say, no, I don't need to dominate here. Somebody else can dominate. But if you have a society that's very rigid about domination, you're only one must die, because the two cannot coexist. So this is the kind of cycle that reproduces violence in a lot of violent societies, where there's one acceptability of power, when the power is threatened, those of you who breed animals, you know that animals, they fight to the death. One must go. That's why about 2 bulls cannot be in a crowd, because they can't. Hegemonic masculinity. They can't accept any other. So as human beings, fortunately, we are not animals. We've got an ability to negotiate power. And that's why when we talk about women empowerment in South Africa, we are breaking some of these cycles that it's not necessary for men to lead all the time. That's why even now, the speaker is leading us, but we are not threatened as a source because we are beginning to break this cycle. Leadership does not necessarily belong to a particular structure. Are we still together?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in terms of the culture of gender-based violence, often, speaker, in South Africa, and we've heard the recent story about the young lady student who was found murdered not far from here. And it's a pity that in South Africa, we are activated at the top of this level, at the top of the pyramid. When there is shona or mudabule or rape, that's when we jump. Other than that, to leave. So it's only when there's what we say is explicit violence, like critical gas, that we get activated. And one of the areas that we need to strongly, especially as Amateur, see appreciated is that violence is not isolated. It's a system. Violence is like building a house. You can't see the foundation of this place, but it's there. And the chamber, is because of the foundation. Without this foundation, this whole building collapses. And often we don't deal with the foundation of gender-based violence. Maybe it's because I see born. It's only when the building roof maisha that we get activated. And I want to be very honest. You'll never solve gender-based violence through that method. I know it can be said for some of you to hear, but we'll never address gender-based violence. See, activate uti une pule, une karabo, une baby tsepang, and then poison. Then we activate. We must deal with the roots. And what are those roots? Is right at the bottom, which is the foundation of gender-based violence. And there's areas I spoke about rigid gender stereotypes, like the previous slide. So when we've got these upbringings, in Jani, and we're not flexible, but also render rigid gender stereotypes around females. When you say umama belongs a kitchen, and that's what I believe. I don't care who speaker, what, a kitchen. Things like believing a woman must earn less. Many of us have those beliefs. A certain amount. But it's also happening. We know men, we earn more, even doing the same job. Doesn't matter. It's all over the world, by the way. South Africa is not unique. But also some of the traditional gender roles, where we have these agreements as society, and then and when we don't have a broader scope, that's when we begin to have violence. Because if you believe a woman belongs in the kitchen, when that woman gets out and becomes a counsel, then some of us, we get threatened as a matter. But we a meeting and chairing and being a treasurer general. And those can cause violence even in the same view. Those are some of the issues that cause that violence. And of course, problematic language. The way school corners are matter, especially Masi Sordwatch. There's certain things that we say. Some of them, we say them as jokes, but we repeat them until we normalize them. Rape jokes, sexist jokes, jokes around gays, just some of the things that we say, comments that are very misogynistic, but as not fast. So by normalizing that, because we are doing all of these things in our own spaces, we don't see them as harmful. Because all these things of rigid gender stereotypes, traditional roles, it's just our beliefs, secondary and problematic language. So we don't think it's harmful because we're not interacting with society, particularly with women. It's just amongst us. So we think it's harmless. But here is a foundation of violence. Because what happens is that we start believing and embedding those beliefs in our systems as a adult. And then while not all of us will act them out, but once we've normalized it, a few of us as Amadota will graduate from just talking in our WhatsApp groups, talking in our own spaces. We will graduate to begin to act out those beliefs that are entrenched. And we act them out by degradation. We have tools. So we'll harass, and some of these harassment, again, we don't think they're serious. You know, because the way this it's very uncomfortable. But it's because we started with those conversations amongst ourselves. Some of us will graduate. Harassment, verbal abuse, where we begin to say certain things to our mama that are not pleasant, stalking, in a way that they even feel uncomfortable being in that space. And again, those are hardly reported. And we allow them in society. So we know them in our townships, in our villages, where it is very common, these types of harassments. But the challenge again is that if we don't deal with those harassments, they graduate. So again, not all of us will graduate, but some, once we dwell this harassing of women, stalking, verbally abusing them, you get comfortable. And you start believing with time, and this thing is normal. You graduate to the next level, which is removing, when we talk about removing autonomy, at least if you are harassing somebody or a room. But some of us will graduate to loss of autonomy. This is where you don't even give the person a chance to say yes or no, or to say stop it, where you take over their power through threatening them. And also cohesion. Cohesion is very common in South Africa. You know, the president even banned alcohol because it was a problem. But especially amongst the youth, the younger people, there's this thing so that they can't say no. You take away that ability of them to say yes or no. But there's other forms of cohesion. The same seven, I'm a man in a position of power. Or a young beautiful girl who's struggling from sevens and girl would know them sevens about all apart. Fanwens something. No man I beg straight in but already it's cohesion. Or those of you who are landlords owning a room rental, my lockdown. This is what I want cocky rent. The little we are man, rent, you know, taking away the ability to say yes or no, and of course to violate a person, sometimes in a way that the choice of balega, the way and again, those things are a build-up. And once again, in South Africa, we can, the things I'm talking about, we all know them. They're very common in our society. We agree, very common. So once again, I'm operating at this level and I get used to it and it becomes normal. Society, I begin to think it's normal. So the next time, what do? I graduate. If I'm violent, I low bit, Value press it close. So again, to graduate to the next level, which is now violence, very clear, explicit violence. And in violence is now what I started where we now begin to be surprised as a society. We begin to be shocked. Sisibuza ama question ukuthi ha. Kanti umule kanjani lo sis. But if you can check history, you can go to prison and ask all the people who have, or who assess them, all the people who have murdered a woman, and assess from 1990, so you'll figure out ubandlule wonke lama stage. Bandlule la phansi, ukubeliever, uba nama beliefs, sabayeka bafika baqala ukuharasa, sabayeka in society, bafika baqala ukuthreaten and ukuviolate, sabayeka. By the time they kill, they've already graduated. Fana nesikole. Nami angivukanga one day university. Ngicala ngecrash. Ngiphosa ukuthi uvuke nje one day nomsebenzi ngene phansi. By the time you reach level ukuthi you're in management, you don't just wake up management. It's a graduation of processes. So when you talk about dealing with gender-based violence, it's going to be very important as society that we deal with the foundation. And I know Bora la pants. It's not exciting. I know my camera, it doesn't have emotions, but especially as a matter, this is the area where if Sukuluma, it's a tavern, but you show something wrong. As a matter, that's why you say, "I man, in the absence of women, in the absence of a crowd of a camera, that's why we need. If Petamaya believes, we should come and put man. That's why you correct me, but explain yourself. No, man, your beliefs are problematic. And so if we want to dismantle the issue of violence against women, we need to look at the root cause in that sense. And of course, when you talk about gender justice, one of the areas that we need to look into is also how these, as earlier I spoke about, a patriarchal society or social inequality. The results of this gender inequality is that it leads to women being in a space whereby even if they are violated, they feel the system is not supporting them. So a lot of the time, those of you who follow even social media, you'll realize, but why report a case of rape after 10 years? Why am I reporting earlier? You've seen those cases. Yeah, and we fail to understand but the system of a patriarchal society, it creates an environment. I mean, even us here, I'm not sure if someone can raise their hand. Have you ever had something stolen and not reported it to the police? You have phone by chance, not with TV that by chance, but feeling a mess, such a phone. Why? You don't trust the system. So before we even attack women, say, but why am I report land? Even though they shy, why am I report? We must be mindful. And this is a real stats that were collected. Less than 1% of actual rapes end up in prison. 0.77% of people who are raped end up in prison. Less than 1%. You can see there's the computer, if you can assist with it. You can see 645,000 rapes are committed. And then from those rapes that are committed, only 50,000 are reported. Right?
Yeah.
So these are the total numbers of rapes, if you look here, in total, that are committed. But only this portion will be reported. And of those that are reported, so out of the 645,000 rapes that happen, only 6,800 or 7,000 of the reported cases zifike court. So from reporting, 50,000 reported. Those who end up in court, Pamgo magistrate, out of 50,000, it's only 7,000. So it's these ones who face trial. And then out of the 7,000 who go to court, only 5,000 end up in prison, in jail. So lay part out of all the people who rape end up in jail. And then Tina, which becomes very painful. Nami has no feel the sensitivity. Those who are falsely accused, naba ile tule le emnyama le kone nyababona musle tule le ngisekela. Those are the false cases. People who did not rape, but women went to report the case to say I was raped. But we all know as a matter. Immediately after rape, senzani sibakhumzanga le tule le tule. You falsely accuse us. And then again, what we do, like you said, we further lose trust in the system and make the loss of trust in the system. And that's why sometimes as amateur, this thing, Yoguti, because we do a lot of dialogues with no just and back me up. Immediately, Susa in the Yabafas, gender-based violence. But not. What about us? And then the whole everywhere you can attest to me. There's no dialogue we've been to where a man has not raised his hand and said, "What about us?" You know, same thing. I need to learn to you. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Black Lives Matter. Yeah. I want to. As black people say, what about us? No. All lives matter. You know, as if people are not systematically oppressed. So see, those are some of the things we need to be sensitive to. To say it's not that we deny this two. We don't deny tobacco. But if you look at this two and you compare to the rest, you can see the system is grossly unfair. I'll just, for a lighter note, something those things are none, but it's a bit serious. Although but it can be a bit serious depending on how you analyze it. Nzoikaza le video. I hope you can still hear me. Lentota, are you still with me? Just confirm if is my mic still on the other side? Okay.
Yeah, we still get you the side.
So Lentota iya endlini ga X. Yeah, umuntu lebakazana. Fika lapha ya utshela ugogo ukuthi ngifuna zonke izinto lengizithengele lo muntu ngeValentines. Ngizozilanda ngifuna back. Ngifuna zonke. Hayi ugogo relaxile niyamona uhlele phansi akane stress. Futhi bekaphuza itiye. Sasibhedile ibisa lebekeni. Uphethe icup nje. Uthi ngiyakuzwa mntanami uthi ufuna zonke izinto osithengele umntwana kamntanami. Ngiyayizwa leyo. But before ngizinga zona, ngicela uthathe umnandi kamntanami ukuthele la. Yeah. Before uthatha lezi zinto, tell So although it sounds like a joke, but if you think about it, very fast. By the way, all the people that have committed violence, they have a reason. I'll tell you why they did it. And sometimes, ihamba nemali. Ukuthi ngispendile as just if you can mute somebody, mute another person. Yeah, who's making noise, background noise. Now I'm saying that somebody's making background noise. So sometimes as amadoda, we think because we've spent money on somebody, they did not spend on us. Yeah.
It reminds me of something where it says the very same joke. When you say you're looking back for amalobolo wami.
Yes.
Somebody can say ngifuna back amalobolo wami, and umzali womntwana athi ngicela amashisho womntwana amawashiye kuwo.
That's so. It's okay. So as amadoda, especially even not only us, we must begin to internalize what is called value. It's not just monetary terms. There's many sorts of values. Because if ngithatha umuntu ngiya naye eDurban, ngikhokhe lapha ngithi I've saved 5,000, ngiyakuthatha ngiye eDurban now. To be with that person, a privilege. Immediately ngifonela nje just ukukhuluma naye, uyangikhokha naye. To speak to somebody, it's a cost. Yes, it might not be money, but it's value. Ukuba naye endleleni emotweni ukuthi uhlele nami la. It's a cost. So I'm not the only one spending. Looking petrol, I think I'm the only one. Ukuhamba naye siyahamba na kuma restaurant. It's normal cookie bill. The company now, it's bill now. The contribution now, it's a payment towards me. So this idea of us as men thinking we are the only one spending, it's something that is very wrong. And if you don't believe it, try go to Durban alone. The 5,000 we touch and alone, ngene emotweni uthi ngedela kuzobhora uzobuya ukhala ukuthi ngiwesimali yami. So even with the young people, you must teach them. Normal who's busy player ukuthi wena umuntu wabantwana. If umthatha, when you spend money on them, the company yabo now they are spending back on you. So le nto ukuthi manje uyisuse ukuthi umuntu uyakolota, ukolota yini? Because wakhokha kudala ngomuntu. If you're going to ukolota yena. Nethod. Because the time uhlele naye night club in, angithi boyi celebrity. Bonke abantu bawubhekile ukuthi ukhana ukuhamba nomntwana omuhle namhlanje. Angithi bengiyikhokha. Yes, siyangikhokha ngalento. So ekugcineni mangifuna ukuhamba naye athi yena akafuna ukuhamba, ngikwada ngithi ngispende imali kuwe. What do I mean? Ngoba lo muntu kudala wangikhokha. The fact ukuthi ungiqomile nje. Upfront lokukoma kwakhe i-10,000 upfront. So hence lo mama athi no, before thatha lezi zinto uzithengele umntwanami, ubumnandi bakhe ufake ngapha. Because uwe kahle kahle ukolotayo. So as amadoda, if you can understand that concept, you'll see violence is ophela. You don't even hear. Because everyone who has hit a woman, they do it because they say, "Uyenza something," then yankolota. And I suspect if abafazi bebafana nathi, ba count ukuthi sibakolota kangakanani, yes, singabe sishawa every day. Because especially if unomntwana naye, phatha abantwana bakho, uyabageza, uyabawashela, yes, the cost yaro, ungacalculate. Uthando, ungacalculate uthando umuntu, the warmth. Mawufika endlini kuwarm nje kufudumele, kunuka kamnandi, ungayicosta that thing. Uthi manje phela ama-million. So mina ngize nge-10,000, ngitshela umuntu wethi loze nge-1 million ngithengikolota. Yabona ukuthi maths inokushaya sometimes as amadoda. Ngihamba nomntwana omuhle. Ngiya naye emajideni bese 2 minutes ngiyakhala ukuthi uyangikolota. Hayi. Kuba ngikolota bani? So those are the things that, and unfortunately, we're not taught those things. And we must teach, especially the young boys. We must teach the young boys to say, in fact, who call it on fast? And it's called something was called. Just to go on a lumuntu fanu tabule. Even if I'm not dampened, yes, let's cut to me a son. It was the best time of my life. Yeah. So, just more on a. It wasn't it was a serious note, but as well. In terms of a program yet, before we go to the discussion, Nama Parliament as well, which are in, are very important because we want to make sure we would structure that deals with these matters. As I said, if we're going to deal with the grassroots, we need to make sure that we are accountable. So Amajuba, we launched Immense Parliament, was in February, just in February, when you launched March. Yeah, end of February, March. And we said, Kuma districts, every quarter. Every 3 months, CNG evaluation, even Namakois of Azela. They might join us a bit later. I'm not sure if they've arrived. So that Bastela states, how many houses are broken into? And by the way, all these things are my daughter, so it's not an embarrassment or a secret. How many cars were stolen? How many people were reported in rape? How many people were murdered? How many children were murdered? Like Emaju, how many women were murdered? All those statistics we want to know so that we have accountability. But also the stories, not just from the police, where we hear, how safe do you feel as Umama and Emaju compared to 3 months back? Are you able to walk at night? Must tell us as Umano as Konga. So that we discuss that. So when we talk about accountability, that's why it's every quarter and we must make sure it happens. Unfortunately, Speaker Nome are already on board. So it's too late. We must sit every quarter. And I'm not saying South Africa is not important, but Nati, we've agreed as Amateur South Africa. Then talk to Shone Unene, Cape Town, Simachela. The men in Cape Town must march. Because they are the ones who bother, who grew up no bother lapaya, not Senal. So ni machelane. Tinas falas machele the student because he who yes he might have come from another district but he culture yogulala we tolela. So when you talk about accountability, it must be localized so that we take responsibility. Now, Jobek, Dyasi can tell us so much for national matters. Then talk to Mbulelo to Eastern Cape to see a unit building. So So we want local accountability, rule of law, of course, and then make sure that we build strong institutions. And then we also must look after our health as men, make sure that we take care of our health. Particularly TB still remains the biggest cause of death. Yeah, Corona is excited around it, but TB is killing 170 people every day in South Africa. Every day. Even 163,000 people died from TB last year. Corona won't kill so many people in South Africa, I can tell you. By the time we pela, it would have killed less people than TB. We need, of course, we know we remain with the challenge of HIV. We need to put all men, Amajuba, who still are not on treatment. We must encourage each other, those who are positive to be on treatment. We must make sure that as mom daughter, we screen and push each other. No matter sexually, and finally, hey, before Vula Lepi, you take medication in high blood. Magati knows Tata Leta. It's humble, you take medication, then Mabuya Shukube. Because Ukola is very expensive for our own friendship, let alone for the state. Because Ukola has cost. We are one man down. Finance Puzas Pele. And then, of course, COVID is something that we are familiar with. And I must congratulate Speaker, for making sure that even if you COVID, we still continue with the programs. And I'm saying this seriously because stats came out yesterday from the Medical Research Council. There's been additional, not only additional 17,000 deaths during the same period last year. So 17,000 more people died compared to last year. And if you check our stats for COVID, only 6,000 people have died from COVID. Now that tells you that 11,000 people extra have died from other illnesses. So the lockdown there has cost us a lot. And it makes sense because must lock it down at clinic. I want to collect their medication. So people are dying there of other things. High blood is killing people, diabetes is killing people, mental health, suicides, GBV. So it's very important that we don't forget there's other programs. So we must really thank you, Speaker, for making sure that we are broad like Amaju. We don't just become a COVID district. We take care comprehensively of issues that affect this municipality. And of course, the focus areas is also around violence, something that we need to deal with. It has gone up in the last 4 years or so. There's now about 58 murders a day. 58 people are killed, murdered in South Africa every day. And out of those 58, 47 is between us men, like the speaker said earlier. 47 of us, we kill each other every day. And then 3 is we kill children. That's how bad it even is. And then 8 women, every 3 hours a woman is killed in South Africa. Those are very shocking stats. Actually, even countries at war, you can go to South Sudan, you can go to Syria. They're not killing 58 people. South Africa is at war. And remember that crap, that triangle. We are a country at war. So the issue of GBV, Speaker, we are not of violence. We will sit every court. We can't be at war. Even the National Command Council, COVID, they are sitting every week to discuss. So this thing, Yoguti, Smele, story before we're activated is the thing of the past. And of course, just to give a bit of background, I'll be quick in closing so that we have enough time for discussions. We started a long time ago, from 2008, we're already organizing as Amatota to deal with GBV. And I remember in 2013, we even signed a declaration of ending violence against women and children. We've marched, this was our march to Parliament, where we started, give them a memorandum in November 2017 to say, Parliament, we must start with men's parliaments. And we also, in our memorandum, we said we want a plan, a national strategic plan on GBV. And fortunately, it was launched in April. Of course, we're also grateful to Abu Mama in total shutdown. I think we gave energy to the agency around GBV. You'll remember in August last year. Was it last year or 2018? Last year. 1st August, total shutdown. Was also quite a progressive. And then in 2018, we launched, it was 2018. In 2018, we also launched the Parliament. We were with the Deputy Minister of Social Development. The Deputy President was also there. We had traditional leaders represented by Contralesa, we had Labour, and men came. We were in Ilembe, where we launched. All men from South Africa, from all the 9 provinces were there. We launched Men Championing Change to respond to GBV and HIV. And in the Men's Parliament, we agreed that in Parliament, we will meet once every 2 years at Cape Town. So all 9 provinces, we went for the first time in 2018 in November. So in November, this year, we're going back again. Whether COVID or no COVID, we can even do it online. But we go back to Parliament where we do those things I spoke about earlier of accountability, we account, but we also plan way forward on how to deal with it. Kuma province, through the speakers and the mayors, the speakers and the premiers, once every year, as Amatota, all the 11 districts, la KZN. We must work our way to a Pietermaritzburg, a legislature. and account to say, and Tina will speak for ourselves as Amadoda Samajuba, to say this is how far our program is going, these are our plans for the next year. And then every quarter, we must sit in this room, call each other as Amadoda Samajuba to check how we are doing as Amajuba. And then next year, we're going to launch, I'm not sure how many locals we have here. How many we have? 3. So next year, all the locals must also start. Led by the speakers and the mayors. And then we split it. So shall I twice my locals, shall I twice. So start with my locals. After my locals have met, we meet here, we discuss, we evaluate. Then our locals are meet 40 later in the year. Then we meet here, we discuss, we evaluate. Then before the year ends, we all meet as all districts of KZN. Peter Maris legislature. We must build that stuff. And then once every 2, then we repeat it the next year. And then again, once every 2 years, we again collect each other as Amadoda. We meet in Cape Town, where we account to the women, to the children, to the LGBT community in our response to the issues that affect society. Not just GBV, economics, West, yeah, corona, we're in trouble. We must build jobs. And Amadoda, we have a key responsibility in that area. Only government saying, as Amadoda, we can't have children that don't work. Personally, myself, I can't picture myself not working. I can't. The indignity. If when I say I will be an angry boy. If I wasn't working, which is why so we can't be a generation where our own children don't work. It's a corner. Now in a problem, I don't want to get politically dismissive, but I'll say it doesn't make sense to me. We expect another. So we have a big responsibility. COVID already, I think, 3 million jobs that will be lost, or 2 million. So as Amadoda, in these meetings, we must sit together with the municipality and see how are we going to employ the children of this district. How are we going to create employment? We also need employment ourselves. So Kulama Parliament is going to be very important that we structure them. And this is going on throughout the country. It's not just Emajua. We've already launched 23 districts out of the 52 in the country. And we will make sure that COVID is by Serangani. We would have completed them by now, but we'll keep on pushing. And then so that next day we launch the locals. So all the 226 local municipalities, we must also launch them. But fortunately for 3, not a lot. So we must make sure that we push them. And we don't even have to wait for Parliament to sit, men's Parliament. We can even activate them now ourselves so that the locals start. And in those, we do public participation in the parliaments, accountability. I've spoken about the rule of law. And the questions are really simple. It's always evaluating and then and we keep on that cycle so that we evaluate ourselves and plan deliberately. And as Amadoda, taking responsibility. And in closing, the appeal is that it starts with us. We must be the champions of change. That's where it starts. Even myself, it's a continuous battle. Sometimes that triangle, I belong there now. We are level 2, level 1, then pin and buoy. So we must always evaluate ourselves and be that change. And then in that process, the next thing is to take responsibility for. We talk about street champions. When you have street champions, it means you take care of the strat is not just a physical. If you say la strata, so we champion our streets, even our Shala corner. You look after the streets. In Kulmela, went to Cape Town, because we can some Cape Town. Let's take over our streets. If there's violence in the streets, when a personal, you stand up, you collect Amadoda of that street. We have meetings at that level to deal with that issue. If we tavern lapaya every last Friday, end of the month, we stand up as that street. Don't call the mayor, start with the supermarket council or what. As Amator in that street, we must begin to meet and deal with the issues at that level. And of course, when we've taken the issues from the street at that level, we then bring them to the local municipality to say this is what we have done. And then men's parliament will bring those from local to districts, from district to provinces, provinces to national, and back down. So that's how we're going to deal with these issues. Thank you very much.
Ngalento esiyenzayo asinaluvalo, asinaluvalo, asinaluvalo ngalo mcimbi esiwenzayo mcimbi esiwenzayo ngalo mcimbi esiwenzayo aluvalo. Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. Angazi noma ngicula ngedwa yini on this side kodwa ngimizwa ngalapho ngicula. But thank you very much, Chair. I think you managed to cover everything. And amadoda azwile nasi abantu besifazane sizwile wonke umuntu okhona kwi-program uzwe kahle. And kucacile for everyone ukuthi uma sikhuluma ngamadoda noma sikhuluma ngey'nkinga ezithinta amadoda, it's not only about gender-based violence only, but it's broad. I was taking notes here: economy, job opportunities, businesses. Uyasho Sihlalo ukuthi kuthiwe akasebenzi ngabe usidinelwe. I'm happy Chair uyasebenza. I'm happy ukuthi uyasebenza and awudiniwe. But I understand because most of the time amadoda ne-anger yayiqhamuke ekungasebenzini nakuthi futhi amathuba omsebenzi awekho. Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi nangapha on your side, you are excited as I am this side because of the presentation that has been presented before us. Siyajabula kakhulu kuzwakele kahle. Though at first you're complaining about your Zulu, thina sisizwe kahle and kubalulekile ukuthi sifunde zonke iy'limi sizokwazi ukuthi si-communicate kahle futhi sizwane ngendlela efanele. But siyabonga kakhulu. I was told, Chair, usaqhubeka with your presentation ukuthi we're joined by Zoom usihlalo we-portfolio quality of life in KZN, umama uPhumzile Mbasacele ophinde abe unobhala we-Women's League in our region. She just joined us. Siyajabula kakhulu, but ube indicating ukuthi unenkinga ye-network uzolokhu ngena phinde ephume. But we really appreciate leadership ukuthi even leadership kwi-parliament ikhona and they're part of the programs that you are having. And bayawabona ukuthi siyawenza ama-programs njengalawa. Nothi Sihlalo we-district uxolani ekunene ama-send reporter kwi-province with the programs and wenziwe. This will be part of your program, Uman reports. And asithandi ukuthi nigcine nikhukha ama-report, ama-send reports ku-provincial men's sector. But it's very exciting ukuthi ama-programs njengalawa akhona futhi ayenzeke. And I'm happy u-chairperson we-province ukhona khona la kwi-program esikuyona. I think you must consider Prof Dyasi ukungi-co-opta in your committees ngibe khona because lento yabantu besilisa kakhulu ethinta amadoda nginayo interest enkulu kuyona ngoba i-challenge siyibone ngathi amadoda abantu abangathandi ukukhuluma. But I'm happy Dr. Hanach if uzokhuluma ngale ndlela okhuluma ngayo. I so wish wonke amadoda in South Africa angakhuluma ngale ndlela okhuluma ngayo, anga-understanda ngale ndlela ni-understanda ngayo lento ye-gender-based violence. Akekho koleda omunye. I like that. Akekho koleda omunye. For me ukuthi ngihambe nawe sakwi-date, you owe me, by the way. I like that. I so wish onke amadoda emhlabeni angaba nalo mbono noma ngaba ngale ndlela engicabanga ngayo. Indeed, let us stand together Dakuana Arime. Asimendawonye, together we can do more, together we can beat this, together we can fight this crime, because this is crime and we can fight it if we can stand together and sisho into eyodwa ngezu elilodwa. Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. I'll be allowing discussions, with taking hands. I'll be unfortunately on your side time you'll be assisting me with hands and you put them on the speakers, but siyafisa nje ukuthi kuma discussions ethu let us be even though singeke stick to the presentation, but let us try to make sure sikhuluma asingaraise ama-challenges kuphela, but let us also come with solutions. How are we going to implement those things? How are we going to deal with those challenges as well? I'm noting you, Chairperson Xolani Kunene. I'm also noting Sanele Ndlovu. I'm not lawa engwanothayo uthami lawa engwabona kwi-screen kumina. But usanele ke bevele indicatile ukuthi uzokhuluma. And also MM siyambona lapha ukhona siyakubingelela Mangethe, the municipal manager of Amajuba district. We really appreciate to have you in this discussion, in this platform. Kwalokhu yindoda now. Thank you very much, Mangethe. At the moment, time I've got Usihlalo we district main sector, Mr. Xolani Kunene, as well as Usanele Ndlovu from Men's Movement. I'll allow them to come in. Usanele ready. I'll be taking hands. I'll appreciate time if we can just note them, then then I'll give them opportunity. Then sizokwazi Usihlalo we KZN Mr. Linda Mazibuko, women's sector KZN Usihlalo. I'm also noting your hand. I'm noting your hand. What I will do, Tammy, as you are busy taking hands on your side, I'll give the chairperson with province. I'll start with the chairperson with province, Mr. Linda Mazibuko. Gilandele go chairperson with province, Mr. Xolani Kunene. Bese ngithatha Usanele Ndlovu, Women's Movement. Then I'll be taking the rest of the hands abalapho we council chamber. Thank you very much, Chairperson Sihlalo. Over to you. Thank you.
Angibonge speaker. Ngibonga kakhulu speaker. Ngendlela olifethe ngayo uhlelo. Uyindoda impela speaker. Uyibambe khona. Uyibambe khona. Da ngibingelele wonke amadoda akhona lapho. Ngibonge kusihlalo uXolani lapho eMajuba. Nayo yonke management just to organize lo mcimbi ukuthi kuthe enakusho kuma resolution today kuyenzeka njobe eshilo uspeaker hayi ngiyiphathi nami yokuwitness ukuthi cha ama program manual reporter kwi province nami ngobe ngiyingxenye ukuthi I was there ngempela kuyenzeka ngicabanga ukuthi kukho konke sokubekiwe namhlanje amadoda wonke lapho azokhula sizokhula kakhulu sibonge kukhanaga presentation yakho. That was very clear. And this niggas ukuthi as men, what can we do? Ukuze senze le community yethu ukuthi isizakale, ingane, omama baphume kule nkinga yoku abuse abantu besilisa. Madoda, angithi namhlanje eNewcastle akungezwakala lutho eMajuba kuthiwa sokukhona osephinde wageshengwa kade sokukhulunywa kanje namhlanje lolu daba. Ngakho-ke ewami nje umbono yilo ukuthi let's go forward madoda siyiphushe umsabalazo men championing change. Ngiyabonga speaker.
Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. Thank you very much indeed. Siyafisa ukuthi uma siphuma lana amadoda kuphume kuyamadoda ashintshile ngempela and nasemphakathini uma sibona ama stats akube nomehluko ukuthi sibile neprogram njengalena and amadoda abuyele emuva andlulisa lolwazi akutholela namhlanje. Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. We really appreciate your presence Sihlalo. Siyajabula kakhulu nje siyathobela. Thank you very much. Sihlalo we-district, Mr. Kunene. Okay, Mr. Kunene, ivule mic yakho ngase uyivalile schools siyakubona uyakhuluma kodwa schools ukuthi uthini.
Manje. Can you hear me now?
Sesiyakuzwa. Yeah,
Oh.
sesiyakuzwa.
Siyabonga bengithi angibingelele ngibonge kuwe speaker. Ngibingelela ubuholi obubuya kwa national nobuholi be province nobuholi be district obukhona kule dialogue. I-presentation ibinhle kakhulu siyayamukela. Kodwa ngifisa ukuthi siphume kwi-dialogue ngathi mhlawumbe bekupresentwa kusha kithi. Asekuveza ukuthi eminyakeni sihamba izinhlelo zethu la emajuba bezibheka ukuthi uma sibheka ukukhuliswa kwendoda noma umfana ezokudlulela esikuba indoda zikhona inhlelo ekhona kuma community levels. I-challenge yethu mhlawumbe ukuthi lapha ewardini uma kumele siqale sibe nama-wardman committees or into ecishe ifane naleyo noma isibaya samadoda at the ward level, it's a bit difficult. Speaker, you'll agree nami ukuthi sinekhansela kwelinye iward ube nekhansela nenkosi noma ube nekhansela nenduna. Before we can even start ukuthi uhlanganisa amadoda kunalawo ma-structures kumele sikhumbuzane ukuthi sidlule kuwona. Ngoba if ungakwenzanga lokho usunecala. Ngifuna ukulayina nenkulumo ethi taking our actions before sibone izinto zenzakala e-TV bese kuba imasinyakaza. Siyazama emajuba sihlangane singamadoda noma sibe nezinhlelo kodwa ke kunawona lawo ma-challenges lawo amabili amathathu. Ebengifisa nje ukukubuza ku-deputy chairperson as my parting shot ukuthi on the issue your accounter, the localized accountability, is the national looking at mhlawumbe finding some form of support for men's programs, not for individual mhlawumbe, but for programs at the ward level that will go up to district level? Is there a support corner, some form of, maybe it could be a budget or something, well, uma senza umsebenzi asibambisane ngoba siyazi ku local municipality eNewcastle most yama programs alimala kakhulu engenzeki ngoba amadoda will tell you ukuthi move from point A to point B kunene kudle ephaketheni, and ngabe mhlambe ngithengele ingane zami isinkwa wena uthi mangihambe ngiyokwenza ukuthi bese igcina i-program i-affecteka kakhulu. Is there any support mhlambe ebhekekile noma khona la emkhandlwini wethu wasemajuba? Kodwa nje bengifuna ukusho ukuthi Dr. Matune, you can't bother Moreki. When we talk about idambi earlier on, it's very difficult kuleyo session ukuthi sithi kulosithengelayo ndoda usuyithathile i-treatment yakho noma hambe ekhaya uyoqala uthathe i-treatment before uzosithengela. Kodwa ke these are things that we'll try and talk about and continue seasons emajuba. Ngiyabonga speaker.
Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. I think your questions, Prof Dyasi as well as Dr. Hanach, bakwazile ukuthi bawa-note phansi, bazokwazi ukuthi ba-responde basesibanika ithuba. But I really appreciate into ukuthi kubalulekile even at the ward level or branch level abantu besilisa bayihlanganise kuze kwi-district, kuze kwi-province, kuze kwi-national, because iya-assista kakhulu leyo emobuka kuma-organizations amaningi ahlukile. That's how they operate. So I was very happy uma ngizwa uDr. Hanach naye egcizelela futhi ayenzeke. Street committees, I think that's what you are referring to. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi azosiza kakhulu because it's whereby iqala khona ebranchini, everyone kusuka ewadini, umasipala nomasipala unewadi. In terms of our budgets, we do have special programs budgets. will confirm a lot, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But thank you very much, Slan. Babu Sanel, are you ready?
wonke ama structures akhona kusukela kwi national leadership kwi province bonke abakhona kanye nakwi district mhlambe futhi ngi acknowledge nje sibonge ukuthi we are also having our district task team chairperson of Operation Sukumasaka uDr. Mahlubi. It means a lot to me ukuthi ngimbone ukuthi ekhona la. Angisifundanga kakhulu isiZulu esikoleni. Kodwa ngezwe futhi ngiyazi ukuthi makuthiwa umuntu ugequla amagula ukuthi kusho ukuthini. Mhlawumbe ningangicorrecta. Kusho ukuthi ushaye konke angithi. Ugeqa amagula nakho. Ngcono ngoba ngisheshe ngayibika. I think with that said, a presentation here by Dr. Khanako, that is exactly what he did. He touched on so many issues that are of very much relevance. Ngeke size siyitolike lenkulumo yakhe. Kahle kahle kumele ngabe sesiyabonga sesenze way forward the way that he put everything. But one of the things that one wants to touch on, ngingusanele ngakwaNdlovu isibongo, I mean the civil society in the district. We do umuntu uhlangane neinhlaka eziningi kakhulu ukuze ayibala. Siyayibonga lethuba elikanjena. And ikakhulukazi ukuthi we wish to encourage everybody in the house ukuthi encourage ukuthi more young men bezijoyine ezinkulumeni ezikanje. Ngoba kuningi ukukhulisana. Hence I want to support into ethi kumele sibe nezigungo lapho sikhuluma khona as amadoda. Ngoba uma umuntu angayitholi i-guidance efanelekile, angayitholi i-mentorship efanelekile, ilidela ukuthi umuntu ekakhulukazi intsha yamanje igcina seyithatha whatever sort of ithatha that mentorship available ngaleso sikhathi, ithathe leyo guidance eyitholayo ngaleso sikhathi. Hence kubalekile ukuthi umuntu wakwakhuluma ngento before that we called a restoration of the fatherhood in fathers. So kubalekile ukuthi as fathers ikakhulukazi obaba bethu abadala bethathe back indawo yabo okuba obaba abaqotho abenza okufanelekile, ngoba we are seeing ukuthi kukhona abantwana abaningi abanabo obaba kodwa kuba ngathi abanabo. Hence kwenzakalani, uzothatha leadership from whoever umuntu okhona around who's providing leyo nto yokuthi mina ngizoba ubaba kuwe, okuzowenza ukuthi size sincele nezinto ezi-wrong. Ngokuthi uyabona zikhona izindawo eziningi lapho where ukuthi as a male your masculinity yakho uzoyikhombisa ngokuthi kumele usatshwe, kumele uthi mawuqhamuka whatever you do, however you treat another, whether it's a woman or it's a young man, kumele nje ukuthi kwazi ukuthi hayi useshilo ubrathami, maseqhamuka ubrathami ayikho into esisoyenza. So siyathula sikhule siyibuka lezi zinto, and then if ungisondeza eduze kukhona namaginza laba batshontshe imoto, you know, abenza ama drugs and stuff like that. So if that person onjalo kuba uyena who avails leadership kimina as a young man, ngizogcina njani ngilandela lokho ngibona ukuthi that is the right way of growing up. Hence it is important ukuthi sithathe serious into yokuthi as men let us restore the fatherhood in fathers. Ububaba kobaba, ngoba ngingaba ubaba nje but ububaba bungabe bikho. So we need ukuthi mhlambe before sizifike ko ward based forums, my approach would be we need to start at home. Let us have family forums where maybe even once a week siyazi ukuthi siyahlala sonke as a family and we discuss whatever issues we are having. Ubaba akhulume ngama issues abenawo emsebenzini in society, so that mina as indodana ngizokwazi ukubona ukuthi akhona ama challenges ahlangabezana nobaba. Kusukela lapho in a family sibe khona sibe nalokho akubalulile uDr. Khanako of streets. Angithi siqalile ekhaya. And then asiphume ngaphandle manje, let us discuss lezinto as istrati ngoba istrati nestrati sinama challenges angafani. From there, we can then move to a branch or a ward based. From a ward based sihlangana sesiwomasipala. Kanjalo uma silandelela izinto ngaleyo ndlela sokwazi ukuthi sikhule sibone ukuthi from here uma nginenkinga kanjena ngakwazi ukuthi ngirefere kuphi ngiyothola usizo kuphi kanjalo. So lezo zinto lezo zingasiza as young men ukuthi uma kukhona obaba uyabona nje khona izitradi ezinabo baba abancane ngalendlela ukuthi kuyaziwa ukuthi uma kiwe kubaba ukunene uyena ubaba westradi. But nowadays sekuyasabeka nokusabeka lo. Kunenye into futhi okumele sike siyibuke yokuthi as young men kunama expectations that we are having asibulalayo. Uma kuthiwa si inherita these expectations of society. Kuthiwa as indoda, mawuyindoda kumele ushade. Awusuyindoda ke makanjalo. Kumele ube nomuzi, ube nomndeni. Bese sikhohlwa ukuthi kumele siqale sifundisane ukuthi before ngishade speaker kumele ngiqale ngibe nentombi. Asifundisani lawo ma challenges futhi size sifundisana nokuthi uma senginentombi intombi isazongigila. Ngisazothi ngiyaqhamuka ngiyithole ihamba nomfana thizeni okanye ibe nalomngane womfana enga-understand. Intombi kusazoyenzeka lokho isazongidampa, you know. Bese uyabona without discussing these things ngiqhamuke sekuthiwa kumele ngishade. Ngithi mase ngishadile mina expect ukuthi umfazi uzoyenza A, B and C ngendlela efanelekile. So as a society we owe each other ukuthi singaqhamuki sesifaka izinto emahlombe of umuntu wesilisa ukuthi wena expecteke ukwenza lokhu nalokhu without ukumtraina ukuthi kodwa kukhona izinto ozohlangabezana nazo ezokuphula inhliziyo. Uyabona. So we need to have such programs of which we really teach each other responsibility and also sifundisane nokuthi kukhona nama heartbreaks esizowathola along the way. Okugcina sengivala Madam Speaker. As men, we ought ukuthi to reach out to men that society ababuka as izinto lezi ezingasile. Kukhona ukuthi khona abantu esibabuka less esibathatha less. For example, khona labafana abagcwala ezitolo bapakise imoto bacela o2 nezinto ekanjalo. Those people, they are coming from somewhere abavelanga baba lapho. It is our duty and our responsibility to reach out to those people. It is pointless to preach to the converted. We need ukuthi when we have these sessions ngoba ungathola ukuthi out of all of us here only maybe 1 or 2% unenkinga of being abusive. And the people that we need ukuthi sibathinte ibona laba abangaphandle. We need to have izindlela zokuthi how do we then go ahead and reach out to the people esibabona ukuthi baseyinkingeni. Uma senze lokho sathinta labo saya kubo sanga expect ukuthi bona beze kithi. I think we would have achieved into enkulu kakhulu. Ngikusho lokho sihlalo ngoba I've had an encounter with some of these young men. Eboxa osizweni kakhulukazi. If somebody knows leyo ndawo uyabazi ukuthi bagcwala kanjani. We went there, no warrant of officer uBuyani Mazibu. Sakhuluma nje nabo, sakhuluma nabo. We gave him advice. Abamaziyo kuBuyani, he's a straight talker. Ebatshela ukuthi kodwa ningcoleleni. Okay, ngifuna imali anigezile ngani? Izinto ezikanjani. And sathi mase sihamba sesisuka lapho siyabezwa bekhuluma bethi kanti nathi khona abantu abasasincane. Bakhuluma bebodwa. Because we gave them advice and we offered to assist them further. Unfortunately, due to COVID ne lockdown, yasenza ukuthi iprogram yethu besinayo nabo igcina ivalelekile okwamanje. So ngiyafisa ukuthi uma sisuka lana sike sicabange nento ekanjalo ukuthi there are those people out there who really need attention yethu. Abanye babo they are abusers and drug addicts. Hayi ngoba bethanda, it's because they didn't have the proper guidance. So base bathatha the next available guidance ebeyikhona kubo. So thina asibeni yilabo bantu labo ukuthi kuze sazi ukuthi we have made an impact. Asisukeni lana senza ama programs of ukuthi how do we reach those people? Ngoba bazoqhubeka behlohlana without getting proper guidance. Ngaleyo ndlela ngiyacabanga ukuthi sizokhombisa ukuthi simi ndawonye. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga
Speaker, over
kakhulu.
to you.
No, thank you very much. Siyabonga kakhulu Sanele with your contribution as well as uGolani kanye nosihlalo weprovince. Siyabonga kakhulu. Indeed, your contributions ayasiza kakhulu and we are taking notes and assist in terms of drafting ama resolutions or way forward to kule program now. So siyabonga kakhulu with those additions and siyabuzibela Sanele ligotshwa lisemanzi. I think that's what you wanted to say. Ukuthi asibafundiseni basesebancane basasesikoleni basasemgaqweni bebona ukuthi into abayenzayo ayikho yinhle and abayenza iba yimpi asibakhuzeni kunale show Dr. Khanako ukuthi umuntu enza into wrong angakhuzwa aphinde futhi ayenze angakhuzwa ngesingayo ubona ukuthi ilungile futhi right and ubona ngathi you keep on graduating ukuthi hayi ngakwazi umuntu ngashayela izandla ngatshontsha imoto ngashayela izandla. So it's very important ukuthi abakhuzwe basesebancane abakhuzwe besase before babe obaba khona bazoba obaba abanesidima nabo abahloniphekile. Siyabonga kakhulu. I'll be just going straight to the hands. Uthani angisendele zona noma I-confirm ukuba phakamisile. I just want to confirm so that sizokwazi ukuthi if you want to add mhlawumbe igama lakho angilibizanga uzokwazi ukulifaka. We've got uDokotela uMahlubi, Prof J Mdlalose, uRef Koloko, uRef Motha, uRef Ngubane, uThulani Shabalala, noSipho Mhlongo. Izona zandle enginazo lezi. Can you please confirm that, Tammy?
Grace and peace be unto all. uRef Ngubane lo.
Okay.
Engikubukayo nengikubonile. Oh, sibonga kakhulu Dr. Khanyago. Ngepresentation yakho ibe yinhle kakhulu. Okunye engathanda uku-add kuloko kwakho okushilo kuyi-presentation. Abanye abantwana noma mhlambe enye igenge sakhula iyaye ithathe kubazali okunye kwalezo zinto lezo ezenzeka because abanye abantwana bayaye bakhule mhlambe akhuliswe umzali ngayedwa. Bathi mayekhuliswa umzali ngayedwa thothi akanayo imother figure akanayo ifather figure. Kuze kugcine kutholakala ekuthenini mhlambe u-team up negenge errong. Njengamanje nje ngikhuluma nawe nje Madam Speaker lapha ngasekhaya ngakimi la engihlala ngakhona wa23 sekunegenge engiyiqoqile ukuthi ayizama ukwenza mhlambe okusayikeshi iculo okusayitoranyana icule sibone ukuthi sihlanganisane ukuze kuzokwazeka ukuthi ekugcineni kwakho konke izama ukuqoqeka igenge. Kuke kwale noma ngabe kuthiwa nakho sekwenzeke into ethizeni mhlambe edinga umasipala thola ukuthi mhlambe ngaleso sikhathi akakwazi ukufinyelela kubo ngaleso sikhathi. Uzwe namagama nje abawakhulumayo ukuthi okusho khona ukuthi ikhaya lapho uma khona akukho right kanti futhi uthimapha negenge sengathi impela isithanda ukubhedabheda kancane. Kodwa kulokhu engikuzwayo kuDokotela uKhanyaga kuhle kakhulu ngiyakubonga. Kufanele sizame nathi singabefundisi nanomasipala sibambisane nomasipala ukuthi kutholakale indlela esingasiza ngazo labantwana ngoba kona kahle impela bekufanelekile impela ukuthi basizeke impela labantwana. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu Ref Ngubane. Thank you very much. Okay, Ref Koloba.
Okay.
Yebo,
Angithathe
kodwa ngingaqhubeka.
ngibonge kakhulu Madam Speaker. Ngiyabingelela kubo bonke abantu abakhona phakathi kwale ndawo. Sibonge kakhulu ne-presentation esitholile enhle kakhulu futhi ekhuthazayo. Kodwa kunombuzo ukuthi isiyinhle kangaka le presentation kungabe effective na? Kungabe kuyayeka yini emphakathini? Kungabe kuyasebenzeka yini? Obaba babona ukuthi kuyasebenzeka yini uma le program enhle kangaka ipresentwa kuthina namhlanje? And ngicela ukuhlukanisa ke mina ngihlukanise Madam Speaker, ngihlukanise a male umuntu wesilisa ne-man indoda. Ngibahlukanise labantu ngoba a male kuzoba umuntu nje wesilisa okhona owaziwayo ubonakalayo ukuthi ugqoka ibhlukwe umuntu wesilisa, kodwa a man kuzoba indoda le ekwazi ukuba ne-responsibility, ekwazi ukunakekela abantwana, ekwazi uku-advise, ekwazi ukuya emphakathini, ekwazi ukuvikela abantu noma mhlawumbe umphakathi. Kodwa i-male ngeke izikwazi ukwenza lokho. I-male icabanga i-rape, icabanga u-abuse abanye abantwana, icabanga ukugqekeza emzini abantu and so forth. That is a male. So ngihlukanise, ngingathandi kahle uma umuntu ekhuluma kakhulukazi ngendoda abesefaka lezi zinto ezenziwa abantu esithi ama-males. Usungalekelela ukuthi mhlambe ngamanye ama-language kuyahlukaniseka yini, kodwa ngesingisi nesizulu hlukaniseka kahle kakhulu, a male and a man, umuntu wesilisa nendoda. Okunye ke ngiyafisa ukuthi mhlawumbe sibheke ukuthi njengoba sekwa implementwa i-men's men's parliament, akhona yini, zikhona yini indlela eseziqaliwe ezizokwenza ukuthi yonke lento exoxwa endaweni ezikanje iyofinyelela emphakathini? Ngibongile kakhulu Sanele uma uthi laba abahleli lapha emgwaqweni, abahlele izitolo, ibona abafana laba bakhona abafanele ukuthi bagrume babe amadoda, ama-males lawo. Bahleli laphana and abenzi lutho, kwesinye isikhathi nje kuhlangana vele labantu bajudane ngento ezi-wrong ezingekho right. Ngoba nawo ama-males amanye mehleli ajudana ngezinto ezi-wrong, uthola ukuthi mhlambe one male izothi mina sengishadile, sengashadelwa, senginayo unkosikazi, kodwa nje akathi insila kimi ungazi kahle. Mina mekwabheda nje uyazi kahle impama yami ngimhlaba ngayo ngimlahle lapha. Isiyasuka nale enye ngoba imale la isiyo indoda, ngithi ukuba bekuyindoda ibizothi no, you don't do that kumuntu wesifazane. Iyasuka ngoba nayo imale isiyahamba isiyoshaya bani, iyoshaya unkosikazi wayo. Ngakusasa mebehlangana kwi-same spot sebexoxa, uthi hey nami ngamshaya mani uMazungu, eyizolo ngamginqa nje ngesibhakela ngimshiye ne-blue eye kabi. Uyasuka le male ekuyiyona eqale le discussion, it was wayisiphukuphuku. Umshaya kanjani umfazi ngoba akashawa? Awazi yini ukuthi into yokushaya umfazi ukuthi umthathe mawufuna ukumshaya uthi ukumdlaladlalisa, uthi ukumdlaladlalisa umkhohlisi? Angithi uyabona manje akusenzeki lento le abayishilo ukuthi izokwenza, akasasho ukuthi ngiyamshaya. Usembiza lo munye ngesiphukuphuku bese kuqala ini impike yama-males yabantu besilisa. Iqaleke impike lapho, kuqale kuzondwane, kuqaleke kuzingelwane, kuqaleke manje kushawane. Aselimazana wodwa ama-male, iqale ngokuxoxa ngomuntu wesifazane oshawayo, ingekho leyo nto, kuyikuthi akekho umuntu wesifazane oshawayo lapha kulela khaya. Nobaba lo wakhona uyazi ukuthi mesekhulumile uma wakhona ukuze avoid yonke into ukuthi ahamba ayolala ngoba usephuzile. So siyabona ukuthi ku-influence-wana kanjani. Bese sibheka ke futhi la ukuthi kungabe yini le ekhoza kangaka ukuthi abantu besilisa bagcine bekhula nje ngalendlela abakhula ngayo. Inkinga iqala lapho ukuthi uqala umntwana ethe fikwa bephikwe engakabonwa nokubona. Akhule lo mntwana ukhuliswa i-single parent. Akhule lo mntwana ubuka yonke into enziwa uma wakhe la, so akasakwazi ukuhlukanisa ukuthi mina ngumuntu wesilisa okufanele akhule kusasa abe yindoda. Lo muntu usekhula nje la ekhaya ubuke izinto zonke ezenziwa umama ngoba ubaba akekho vele. Isikhathi esiningi kobaba bathathile isitback ekukhuliseni abantwana ugcina umama eseyedwa kungakho sizoba nezingane zabafana okufanele ukuthi mazithatha ubudoda ziqale zingabuthatha ubudoda zivele zithathe lokhu abantu besifazana umthola umntwana eyiphopotha ewumntwana wesilisa umthola umntwana enza inwele umntwana wesilisa umthola engayazi into okufanele ayigqoke umntwana wesilisa ngoba vele ufundela ekhaya ukuthi kugqokwa kanjani akaze ayibone indoda ukuthi igqoka kanjani ibehavior kanjani yenzani indoda akakaze ayibone so uzokwenza kanjani okobudoda engakaze azabone siyesibukeke nala emasontweni uthole umfana egxuma lapha estage engize ngimbeke ngimnikeze isikhundla khona into eyodwa engayibuzanga baba bobufundisi engazange ngize ngibuza ukuthi unabo yini abantwana ngaphandle what is your responsibility are you looking after them ngoba before azovuma izono ezinye engingazazi azoyivuma la fanele eqala akavuma isono sokuthi walahla umntana wakhe walahla igazi lakhe uma ingekho sure zikhona phela indlela zokwenza ukuthi ube nesiqiniseko sokuthi lo mntwana wabani owakho kodwa uthola ukuthi ayenziwanga leyo nto lapha esontweni sengimnika isikhundla useqala amaculo noma usewumshumayeli noma useyini izingane zakhe ziyakhala lapha yana ehlathini akukaze kuze kwenziwe lutho so nathi kuhlangothi lethu njengabefundisi kufanele siyidlale inxexheba yokuthi abantu mabefika kuthina ayenziwe i-interview ngokuphelele singagijimeli kakhulu ukuthi sifuna abantu abaningi on our side ngoba into kakhulu emabandleni yileyo ukuthi ngifuna abantu abaningi ngifuna abantu abazongisupport emsebenzini kaNkulunkulu kodwa lo muntu akahlambulukile ngokwenele ukubheka isimo sakhe uqobo sokuthi abantwana bakhe wenze njani ngabo ngikhuluma from experience ngoba ngake ngayibona lento umfana wayenabantwana abawu7 kodwa bonke ubaphikile labantwana abawu7 uselapha yana phezulu useyashumayela kwathi mangim-approacha ngoba mina ngilo muntu obuye ayikhulumele eshembandla Nkosi yami ningixolele noma ngixolela manje ngibona ngiyayikhulumela nje umuntu ngimqonde ngaleyo nto ngoba nginaso isikhathi sokuhleba wayeseshila umfana wathi lezo mama azingeni la esontweni azikhulunywa nje lezo la esontweni ngenza umsebenzi kaNkulunkulu ngaphandle ngenza omunye umsebenzi so uyayibona ke inkinga esiba nazo omunye wacela intombazane wathi akahamba yo aborta akhipha isisu ngoba kuzoba yihlazo esontweni ukuthi yena usekhulelisile siyayibona lezo zinto ziyenzeka kukhona nomunye owetha ingane yakhe ngomfundisi owaziwayo kakhulu la eMajuba district wayetha wathi wakhuleliswa umfana wakhe owayenza umsebenzi omuhle kaNkulunkulu lapha phambili kodwa uma esemtshela ukuthi ukhulelwe wathamba obulala leyo nto akuseyona nanomuntu sekuyileyo nto so siyazibona ke izinto ezinjalo ziyenzeka zibe ngamahlazo lastly mhlambe mphathi sihlalo ngiyafisa ukusho ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi sibuyele ezintweni esizibone bezenzeka kudala njengokuthi bekiye ukuthi ngezikhathi ezithile ukuze bafundiseke labafana umfana aphume nawo unembeza siyababona manje abananembeza siyayibona ingane ezincane kuthiwa igwasa uthisha uyayibona ingane ezincane kuthiwa zithuka uthisha noma zenzeni ingenxa yokuthi unembeza usekho kwavalwa nalento yemikhuleko angifuni ukuba political kuleyo nto kodwa ngifuna siyibuke njengabantu abadala ukuthi kwavalwa lemikhuleko eyenziwe ezikolweni abanye ke bazenzela bona ngendlela yabo yobunkani kodwa kahle kahle akukaze kwavumeleka ukuthi siyokwenza le yamkhuleko eyenzeka lapha ezikoleni and eyibasiza kakhulu abantwana abancane abakhulayo yila bebekuhlunyeleliswa khona izimilo umntwana wayengangeni qala esikolweni engena i-birth certificate okusho ukuthi lokho uyayihamba inkonzo uyaya enkonzweni abazali bakhe bayazi ukuthi basenkonzweni awuzukufosa ke vele ukuthi wonke umuntu akabe senkonzweni kodwa kube khona a form ethile eyenziwayo ukuthi cha abantwana bayalithola izwi lenkosi bayathandazelwa bayazi ukuthi kufanele baphile kanjani kwi-society lokho kwenza ukuthi kususwe le yanto aphume naye ekhaya yenhlamba nongakwazi ukuphatha omunye ngendlela mase fika esikoleni seyixoxa lezi ndaba kuxoxa indaba zikaNkulunkulu uyabona ukuthi bekunephutha lapha yana ekhaya ngiyacabange nje emphathi sihlalo sengigcina ukuthi ukuba ngangingashunyayezwanga ngabe ngaba hlobo luni lomuntu wesifazane ukuba nje ayizange izingene into okuthiwa intshumayelo empilweni yami ngabe ngaba hlobo luni lomuntu wesifazane mhlawumbe nami ngangogcina ngingenile ezintweni eziningi ezumbulalazo engingazazi ukuthi iziphi kodwa ngavikeleka ngoba ngashunyayezwa ngalazi izwi lenkosi ngazi ukuthi kuyisono ukwenza u1 no2 no3 ngiyabonga mphathi sihlalo kungakuhle obaba bathatha ama-seat abo bathi back to their children bakwazi ukukhulisa abantwana ngendlela efanele ngiyabonga mphathi sihlalo
Siyabonga kakhulu mama uKoloko ngiyathemba ukuthi uzwakele ngokushilo konke sikuzwile
siyabonga speaker kakhulu esikubonga ipresentation namhlanje sibabingelele bonke abasendlini sinama alithwa elihle futhi kodwa ke elingandanga kangako okwami nje ufishane lapha encwadini kaJeremiya iBhayibheli lithi abafundisi bazongivumela usho kanje uJehova uthi yimani ezindleleni nibone nibuze ndaliyokubuza nibuze imikhondo yasendulo ukuthi iyiphi indlela enhle nihambe ngayo ngokufanele ukuphumula kwemiphefumulo yenu kepha bathi asiyukuhamba ngayo elami lithi ukuba besingenzeka singabefundisi nathi sihlanganyela nemiphakathi yethu yonke namakhosi neinduna senze izinto ezingathi zingama road show abezi labafana bethu uma sihlele kanje ema boardroom noma ungadlule izitolo bacela bezi kodwa kufuneka thina siye kubo siyohlala nabo namadoda obaba nezinsizwa zethu esizele sikhumbuza ukuthi izwi lizange livele libe nje njoba selingena nje thina abanye mhlambe sikhule kwezinye indawo kuyasimangalisa kuyasimangaza because intombazane mangiyinsizwa kwakudadewethu impela noma singafani ngezibongo kodwa namhlanje sibuke emalokishini ukuthi sekulukhuni kakhulu bahlala ezitolo bahlala phansi kwezihlahla phansi kwama-shelter bambeka inkunzi kurebheka abantu besifazane kuyinkinga nje esibhekene nayo siyafisa-ke ukubambisana nomasipala bonke njengoba nginesifiso ukuthi uma ubize nje amadoda wabiza ney'ntombi wabiza omama wabiza iy'nsizwa sahlangana nje sigangethile noma emagrawundini athile ngobuningi bethu noma kokwamanje kusenaleyo challenge kodwa nje uma kwenzekile sayithola lezi inkundla kuyoba ukukhulu mina engibona ukuthi iyokwenzeka ngoba labe singabatholi sike saba nomhlangano kwi-province omkhulu kwathiwa abasethekweni ke bahambele itheku nje itradi netradi bazama ukuqoqa laba abahlala esitradini nathi emajuba ake sibe nomthwalo wokubahambela ngiya-understanda ukuthi abanye singabagxeka kanti abakhulanga ngendlela efanele bakhuliswe ama-single parent ugogo uma ekhulisa umfana efika ku-stage uyabhilida uhlula indoda nje ephilile engasiyo nogogo ngakho-ke asilekelele siyabefundisi siyamakhosi sizinduna siwumphakathi sonke ukuthi-ke sihlangane siyilungise le ndaba ngoba thina abantu abamnyama siyasiphoxa ezizweni zonke ikhona siyaphoxeka ngiyabonga
Siyabonga kakhulu baba uShabalala Mdlalose
Bonge kakhulu sihlalo somlomo wethu.
Oh, Dr. Mahlubu ngaqhubeka.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu kodwa ngiyaxolisa ngihlela ngenzansi umakhosi asendlunkulu ubahlonishwa bonke nakusihlalo wami we-ANC Women's League ekhona la we-region. Ngiyaxolisa sihlalo, ngiyaxolisa ngendlini yonke abahlonishwa, ngiyaxolisa. Ngicela ukuxolisa mfana mingaze ngithinte ngezandla nami sengikhalela ukubamba.
Angizange sezwayo Dokotela ngizosuxolisa kwenzakaleni.
Ngikhulume ngesingisi imhlonishwa ngesikhathi ngemukele.
Oh.
Yebo, ngiyaxolisa kakhulu.
Okay, no, ngaqhubeka ma.
Sebekhulumile abakhulumayo kuyikho. Mina egameni ka-Operation Sukuma Sakhe ngibuye futhi ngihlale kwi-social cluster ye-COVID-19 ye-district okuyi-structure esingaphansi kwe-COVID-19 i-district command yethu. Engifisa ukusho nje ukuthi ukuba besingakhuthala iy'nhlaka lezi ngokuhlukahlukana kwazo ezikhona la zihlangane lapha zenze lokho esixoxa ebese ngoba ke kufuneke nakhona ukuthi itholakala i-report ngendaba le ye-violence ekhona, especially i-gender based violence. Sigcina siyithola kwa-social development kuphela ekubeni kufanele siyithole kuma-structures wonke, sithole lokho esikuthola kwa-social development. Uma mhlambe benganendlela ukuthi kube khona ukumeleleka kulamakomiti aphezulu okuzobe kuyisibonakaliso sokuthi kuyahlalwa lapha ewodini ngoba phela njengoba sikhuluma nge-ward based approach nje sikhuluma ukuthi indaba iqale ekhaya ezansi. In fact ifanele iqale nge-individual, sibheke lama-individuals kube nama-targets esiwa-targetayo bese leyo individual uma isiphendukile kukhona ezokwenza ngisho kumngani wayo ebese indaba iyahlangana iziyofika ewodini, isuke ewodini ze-district ize ingene kwi-South Africa yonke. Indaba yokulunga komuntu ngoba ukulimala komuntu oyedwa ukulimala kwesizwe sonke ngoba lo selimele yibo laba basibamba inkunzi, yibo labo baba abadlwengula iy'ngane abathi basebephuzile benza izinto ezingafanele, yenza isibonelo ngokuphuza. So i-representation yalama clusters okanye ama-structures esikhuluma nawo la namhlanje indaba eqalela endlini, sihambe siyohlangana lapha singadingi ukuthi soze sizoxoxa ngoba sesixoxa sesihleli kanje sekufika i-national sekufika i-province. Indaba iqale lapha esihleli khona, sithe iqala ku-individual ize family ize stradini okanye kwi-village endaweni esigodini esithile okanye ngokweyigodi ibisikhuphuka-ke iyewodini lonke. Indaba iqale lapha ukuze matho i-district ithole i-report ezoyise-province ise-national kube i-report esuka somewhere, kungabi ukuthi mhlawumbe umbono umuntu othile. Lokhu nje abakushoyo asebekhulumile ukuthi banokuhlangana nabanye kuhle kakhulu. Manje kugcina kuwumsebenzi wenkawu ongabonakalanga ngoba awuripotheki ngendlela. Uqiniseke kwama-structures ethu yiyo yonke indawo. Okwesibili ukuthi sicela ukuthi kungabi into e-once off le eyenzeka namhlanje. Akube nama-program ushilo omunye kepha kuba ama-program abhalwe phansi azokwaziwa i-district ukuthi ewodini ethile nanka ama-program enyanga, nanka ama-program kubonakale ukuthi into ziyenzeka ukuze kwazi ukumonitheka ukuthi kukhona yini ushintsho olukhona ebese kugcineni ne-accountability kubonakala ukuthi ngempela phela siwakhona siyayithatha in-accountability ngokuthi bese siyaripota-ke kuma-structures afanele. Ngenhlanhla enkulu sinabo i-district yethu ama-locals nawo kanjalo akhona represented, siyawabona, kuyasijabulisa kakhulu lokho. Iy'nhlaka zikhona, civil society kakhulukazi indaba ingaye ngoba isona structure esikhona, iwona ama-structures akhona lapha emphakathini. Ukuvuka kakhulu, ukunyakaza kakhulu kwe-civil society ikhona okuzokwenza ukuthi izinto zinyakaze. La ku-civil society amadoda namhlanje ahlangene la ngenhlanhla nathi sabesifazane sikhona sekuwukuthi siphumeke sihlalo wami ohloniphekile siyokhuthaza siwahlukanisa amantombazane ngoba nawo aney'nkinga zawo ayizenza ukuthi omunye umfana azagcine esenza into wrong ney'keti zethu ey'ncane asizwe ayingagqokwa kudala kodwa isikhathi sesishintshile ezenza ukuthi obaba babuke intombi uthisha eklasini khona kade eveziwe nje uthisha eklasini ebuka zihleli wathi uthisha wrong kodwa ingane ifake endihleli phambili indaba ilele nathi-ke bomama manje ukuthi asibuyeleni emuva ama-young women ethu sibe nama-program abakhuthazayo omunye alanda omunye sazi ukuthi sibeke umthetho othi wena uma usuphendukile woza nababili noma bathathu ngokuzayo kanjalo inji yawaqeda amanzi ngolimo. We are on the right track senza kahle njengoba senza nje kepha kwenele ngoba akukho la kubonakala khona ukuthi senzayo sicula nje iculo mhla kufike inyanga yabantu besilisa ngoJuly njengoba sihlangene nje phana bi-province ifike lapha nje izolalela thina sesiyayitshela nje ukuthi sesenzelo senza lokhu kuqala ama-case for ama-hotspot ethu naka ama-case qale bengaka emadadeni namhlanje angaka abengaka osizweni namhlanje bangaka sikhulume nongasebenzi kwabantwana nazi inhlelo esithe masithintana mhlawumbe nama-department nosomabhizinisi sayiqala naba bakhona nje undodana umfana wami ngiyamkhohlwa igama lakhe uSandile lokho abakwenzayo okuncane kukhulu ngoba omunye uzoxoxela omunye ukuthi mina ngisizakele lapha bese fanele next time iza la i-province ne-national kube ukuthi izolalela thina sesitshela ukuthi ngeke sibaqede ngeke siqede inkinga ngelanga ngizwile epresenter laphana udokotela ukushila ukuthi akusiyinto nje kodwa into ekhona and ngeke siqede ngelanga kodwa we need to do something about it. Okunye ke ngibukayo ukuthi amakhosi sihleli la emajuba ayakwenza ukufanele ayahlangana kakhulukazi namadoda inkinga ithi uma belaphana ngabe kudingidwa indaba zengxaki zomphakathi wabo kuphela yini kangokuthi amakhosi iy'nkonzo njengoba sebeshila abahlonipheki odokotela lapha ukuthi kufanele kube nama-program kwala ey'nkonzweni kwalapha emakhosini akhona kodwa awacacile ngoba akukho lapha ariphothwa khona sizwe nje sesiza ukuthi hawu udokotela ukoloko ubenza ukuthi endaweni ethile kodwa akukho structured uma singalezi zinto ezi-structured kuzosilekelela kakhulu lokho bese bakhona ama-department akey agcina esala ngaphandle correctional services ulayisha iy'ngane angaya eVaterfall ngabuya ngikhala ngithi nkosi yami angiganile nje mhlawumbe umyeni wami la bangakanani aba-youth ekuseni yiziphi iy'nhlelo esinazo ukusebenzisana nalawo ma-structures okanye nalawo ma-institutions ababeke ndawonye singakwazi ukuthi sideze sibabamba ngoba uma ubambe nje ababili lapha ekuseni ejelele iy'ngane bayakwazi ukuxoxela omunye next time sebe-10 uthi uyaphinde uyabuyela sebe-15 iyakhula njalo indaba obaba indaba isekutheni obaba banamuhla ngabe basaseqotho na uma beqotho yini abayenzayo ngizocela ukwenza isibonelo ngake yasebenza emakhishini eGoli ngangihlala endaweni wakuthiwa kusemndeni kwakunobaba they were not men babengebaningi kwakubaba nje cishe babe u6 kwaziwa ukuthi kwababa ubani kodwa phela kwakuyilaba abangapha bamaZulu kwababa ubani ngelinye ilanga igenge lencane ibabamba inkunzi njalo mabehla labo baba bahlangana baphuma nomkhonto nezagile baye eTobhini beyohlangabeza iy'ngane zabebuye emsebenzini beyohlangabeza amakhosikazi ababuye emsebenzini nehlobo zabo uyazi impi engayibuka lapha abafana beshaya abantu abadala begwaze enyameni umuntu omdala egwaze enyameni kodwa kwaqonda bamhlaba nje ngomkhonto wagijima nomkhonto umfana saqala kwathi nya indaba isekutheni sesi-overpower ukwesaba ususaba nokuyitshela kanti umntanami ugqoke kanjani noma ubone ukuthi ngathi kuyabheda ngenxa yesimo esiphila kusona ngaleyo ndlela le ama-systems ethu nawo ayasilahla endleleni senze njani kodwa one step forward ayikufana nokuthi sime ndawonye singenzi lutho sengivala kunama-WhatsApp groups kunakho konke siyazi ukuthi kudla imali ama-data nani kepha uma singaqala kancane kancane njengoba siyila endlini i-attendance register isayiniwe kuxoxwe nje uyazi ukuthi uma kwavulwa uFacebook inhlamba ingane uyibona isithombe sengane incane inhlamba ekhulumayo imemeze idwaba zikamama imemeze uziphu kababa ukubeke nje uthi kodwa Nkosi yami uthi ayibheke ebusweni ayiseyinhlingana indaba le social media singayisebenzisa positively. It starts with us and it's never late to mend. Ngiyabonga kakhulu kodwa nje basingathola i-representation laphana kuma-clusters singajabula kakhulu eza nama-report ngoba sisuke sinezile sisuke sizoreporta nje ukuthi kwenzeka ukuthi nokuthi nokuthi nakho esikuplanayo nazi iy'nkinga ngoba ezinye iy'nkinga singayisolva kwi-level yethu ezinye njalo zifuna ama-level athile sine-district command okuyiyona ephethe i-district ethi mase indaba isifike kuyo bathi sikhipha manje amaphoyisa senza ukuthi manje noma kubulawa umuntu noma intombazane ikhale emgwaqeni lunguza ngefasela ukuthi ha bazobulala mina or uthi uyakhuluma athi umfana yenzo kwaza wena mama ufuna nginake wena into ezinjengalezo sidila kanjani nazo kodwa it's never late to mend. Siyabonga. Ayike omama konakele dokotela Koloko konakele lapha komama sisadinga nje umthandazo kwathina bomama konakele it starts with us. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo. Usihlalo wasuma sakhe ke lokhulumayo aphinda Deputy Secretary we-ANC Women's League in the region ngokusebenza ulaphayana eNewcastle u-SED kwa-corporate. So siyabonga kakhulu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kumele kwazi ukuthi sinobani and bahlala kuziphi iy'nhlaka noma ama-structures because kubalekile lokho. Siyabonga kakhulu dokotela uphinda usihlalo wasukuma sakhe. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sizothatha izandla nje uProf J Mdlalose usasekhona.
Speaker.
Yes, thank you. You may proceed.
Ngiyabingelela Muthulane Bakashabalala from Abahlobo,
Aye.
also
Yes, Thulani
the
Shabalala.
social activist. Umuntu akaqala bonge i-presentation kudokotela ngabe nje umuntu akasakhuluma sokuthanda nje ukukhuluma umuntu usukhaviwe nayibhika endlulile but umuntu ufisa mhlambe ukuthi afake i-submission ethi siyafisa ukuthi going forward nabalaphi bendabuko babe involved kule program lesinayo. Isizathu ilesi sithi uyabona imoto automatic yahlupha ngoba awuyazi ukuthi ishintsha ubani ishintshela ngesikhathi sayo isuke ingashintshwa umshayeli. Now kunalento le esekhona ukuthi uma uhamba nje emadorobheni yonke indawo ubuka uthola ukuthi kunala tole eziningi ezinale eyiwasho nale washe ipink yonke lento leyo. Osisi bethu bagcina besebenzisa lezo iwashe ifana nalezo ukuthi mhlambe bathandwe obaba. So lezo zinto lezo I think is one of the root cause eyenza ukuthi ekugcineni ugcina kube ne-violent ngoba umuntu wesilisa loyo usuke engasayicontrol yena kodwa usuke sekukhona okuthile kumcontrolayo naye mhlambe usize beyitshela ukuthi ngithi angiyibambele umyeni wami abe right. I think we need to consider that ukuthi abalaphi bendabuko babe khona nabo kube khona nokufundiseka kosisi bethu ukuthi ngokwesintu umuntu wesilisa hayi ukuthi kumele uzithole iwashe ipink umbambe ngazo ngoba umbamba ngaleyo nto ubuye wena uma sofuna ukujika wenza okunye lo muntu akasayicontrol usucontrola i-13 mhlambe bekuyileyo submission umuntu befisa mhlambe ukuthi ayifake. Thank you Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. I think ibaluleke kakhulu le ama-traditional healers of which beswamemile namhlanje ngiyacabanga ukuthi abambekile noma anezinye iy'nhlelo ezikhona kodwa beswamemile ukuthi abe yingxenye ye-program yanamhlanje. Yeah, I think do we still have more speakers, Tami, on your side?
we have 3 speakers, and then online, Sibeno
Pumlile Mlambo.
Pumlile Mlambo.
Okay, noted. Thank you very much, Prof. Dyasi. Mbulelo, so you may proceed, sir.
Mangithokoze Somlomo. Ngibingelele uprofessor ndithi bawomkelekile. Enkosi. Uba ube khona nawe. Dr. Matume Kitarelena era amakhala mana KZN. Ngikutshela ko high. Ngizokhuluma masinyane eqinisweni uDr. Hanaka ngikarabile nekinale few questions have been answered, though then I'll just raise some concern and my interest. Ngibonge nje invitation yokuqala ukuthi simenywe ngingalibali abasendlunkulu nezikhundla zonke ezikhona ngithokoza ukuba nani noza kwethu ingathi angizukubingela ukuthi nje ngibadlela fela amahahla wahwiti Dr. Matume ngesixhosa ke Prof zabetha kuzelekazi. So masinya lapha ngiphendulekile laphana ku research the consent ye gender based violence. Baphenduleka kuma victim. Baphenduleka ku report back. Kodwa ke inkinga yami ukuthi ngishaywa ngezwa ngangamenyiwe ngodwa ku men's parliament. Kodwa ngangicanga ukuthi is one of the talk shows. Ngoba uma ngahle ngikhulume mina ngokwami nje ngiyacika kakhulu ya kuma talk shows. And ama talk shows sengihambile maningi ngingayibali igaba zawo kodwa ngingaboni umphumela. Kodwa namhlanje kunenhlansana enethemba lokuthi lokho engizokubeka la mhlampeni ke kuzawulandela ngoba I believe ukuthi mana aqala ngo2015 ngo20 bani singakabikho thina la kulelizwe lakithi kusho ukuthi ke ikhona iway forward. Kodwa yamanje mangithi ke okungihluphayo nomongameli Paulile ngama NGOs la ango fly by night anikeza responsibility yokwenza izinto kodwa singaphumeleli. Ikona futhi mina kungishayayo lo ngoba labo iningi labo sekwaba amadoda ake wathi Dr. Koloko hloboni lomadoda lo lesikhuluma ngalo. Kodwa manje bengizothi mina bengizocela mina ngokuyithoba okukhulu eSomlomo. Make nize kuthina njengebandla. Mangithi ibandla ngikhuluma isonto. Mangithi isonto ngikhuluma ngabafundisi. Mangithi abafundisi ngikhuluma ngabantu okuyibona abaholi. Ithina esaziyo lapho usizi lukhona. Kodwa okwamanje ngibona sonke simiphakathi naphakathi nomfula. Kodwa akekho umuntu oke asithatha sisemthonjeni ukuze sikwazi ukuthi ukuze sikwazi ukudela nalamanzi asedungekile kufanele silungise umthombo. Kodwa ke ngikusho ngesikhulu isibindi. Thina abafundisi yithina abantu abazi la usizi lukhona. Kodwa inkinga yethu we haven't got the resources. Asinama resources. Khona manje mina mangintshela into ebuhlungu kade ngenzeka last week ngiyogeza imoto. Mangifela ngiyogeza imoto kufika abafana so sinyama ngapha bazocela bathi sikanje imali yokuthenga isinkwa ethini lika fish. Kodwa sifuna imali yokuthenga ama-ends senza ama-ends sidayise. Ngendlela kade begqoke ngayo. Ngendlela kade ubabona ukuthi bayafisa uba ngabantu. Ngathatha u40 rand ngabanikeza. Kodwa basuka straight bayothenga isinkwa bathenga ufish bathenga idrink badla. How painful is that? Then angeke ngithi ke sifuna ukulungisa icrime. Labantu babeza kumina wakade bephethe screwdriver ngithi nabazongigwaza. Ube bafike bangigwaza bathatha imali yami ngokuthi one icrime caused by what? Singamadoda anganakekeli umphakathi wethu. Nginga-challenge mina abantu abaningi abaseyikhundleni ngibuza ukuthi uma labantu abantwana bethi uma singathola ama-N soqhubeka siyiphilise uma ningasupport ukuthi siyiphilise yingokuthi mina ube ngangile kuleli parliament ngangocela ukuthi ake nisondele eduze kwethu thina abafundisi sinitshele laba abantu abahluphekayo namanje ngiyafisa ukubuya kulabo abafana kuba bangitshela la behlala khona but uma usulutholile usizo buya kuthina baba sokukhombisa imiphumela yomsebenzi yethu. So ngisho ukuthi ke uma sihlangene kanje I hope that there's going to be a talk show. Our mama phuzu athi ke wozani kuthina njengabafundisi siyafisa ukusebenza nani siyafisa ukunisiza sifuna izikhundla ngoba vele uNkulunkulu usinikele izikhundla kodwa sifuna ukuba usizo. Mina bengiphatheke kabi ngizwa kuthiwa amadoda ahleli ePietermaritzburg amadoda ahleli eThekwini amadoda uthi hloboni lo madoda lolu lidlalayo namhlanje ke sengiyazi ukuthi hloboni lo madoda ahlalayo really bengine concern speaker ukuthi hloboni lo madoda atholwa kuphi manje sengiyazi kodwa ke okungithokozayo ukuthi ke mina bengizocela ukuthi kafushane nje uma ngizophetha ngithi ngikushilo okuningi kodwa bengicela ukuthi makungagcini namhlanje lokho kucelwe umama udokotela usanda ukuphuma manje makwaziwe ukuthi from here i-follow up ithi really bakuthi ngoba into esishaya mina into engishayayo bakuthi ufuna ukuthi bengithi nje ngiza kwenye talk show ngoba vele ngisengiyipension ngihlala into engiyenzayo kodwa ngiyabona ukuthi sikhona isidingo from here and then what bonge futhi leli gama dokotela Matume lika Takuweni Rime. I'm so happy ukuthi thina asifuni ukufunda ulimi lwakithi kodwa ngeze umunye ethi sifundise Swahili. Ngiyacela bazalwane masifundisane isiVenda sifundisane isiSuthu sifundisane isiXhosa sifundisane ilimi lwasekhaya before siphumela ngaphandle ngoba kunje sithanda izinto zabantu. Masibuyelele ekhaya lolu limi lolu lika Takuweni Rime masiqinise ukuthi masifundise ulimi lwakithi ukuze si understand abantu bakithi ukuze sento zakithi mangiphetha ke mangibonga ithuba ngithokoze ukuthi ke ngizwe ukukhunywa ngejele ekseni bazalwane mangizimebe kancane phambi kwenu futhi nihambe niyokubuza lokhu eWestville ukuthi ngubani umfundisi washumale eWestville kwakuqhubeka iziboshwa ezi more than 300 okunamhlanje ngisayiqhanya ngoba ezinye zeziqhu zami engayithola umsebenzi wami ngangiwenza eWestville prison nala simemeni nisibize kakhulukazi mina part of my doctorate iWestville prison doctor Westville prison where I did a miracle about ngisho ne proclamation yami ya declare eNew Orleans umsebenzi ngangiwenza eWestville prison into encane le idinga uba musani ukukhetha abafundisi abathandwa yinina nabaziwa yinina nikhohlwe yilaba abakhona abafuna ukusebenza benza umsebenzi ukuthi balungise incane mina if I could convert 300 prisoners yini ngangihlula ukusiza abantwana abancane babe ngamadoda angizinwebi kodwa ngifuna nazi ukuthi I am here I present myself ngifuna ukuba yindoda erecognized ngemsebenzi hayi indoda erecognized ngomlomo angifuni kwanda ngomlomo ngoba ukwanda ngomlomo njengembeke ngiyaphetha ke ngalamazwi ukuthi ke ngingowenu ngikhona I'm willing to help when it arise ngiyakholwa ukuthi laba abantwana balapha ekseni inkunzi sematholethi it's our responsibility to sense walk to the best of our ability ngiyathokoza
Sibonge kakhulu ku-Prof Mbulelo, thank you very much. Your contribution izwakele and we are noting and we are looking forward ukusebenzisana nabefundisi ukubuya phambili nama programs owashoyo. Awezwa sizwe kusikhulunywa ngawo into esimele siyenze nje ukubambisana siwa implement. Indeed, this is not just a talk show, but it's a program that we need to implement and resolutions are corner because what you are doing now, we are implementing resolutions as we Women's Parliament of which is steps of qala. Yonke into iqala nge-step. So Women's Parliament wa steps of qala wesihlangene amadoda with districts onke. Then this is a program sihlangene osihlalo with district obaba uXolani. That's what we are doing moving forward. So ngiyavumelana nawe that Men's Parliament was not just a talk show, but it was a program now. And then I'm glad masiqede sizoba nama-program. I really appreciate that. Rev Mota. Oh, sengibona usihlalo.
Kuzoke ngiyabingelela umphathi ohlelo. Ngiyabonga bonke abaphathi bakhona endlini. Ngiyabingelela speaker. Sijabule kakhulu sibonga ukuthi kube khona lo hlelo olufana nalolu kubaluleke kakhulu. Uyazi ukube kukhona ngisho intsha igcwala ikizwe kahle. Izinto eseyikhulunyiwe lapha ezifana ngabe ziyalizwa. Kube khona namapholisa ngoba kubalulekile lokhu. Kubalulekile ngoba ngiyeza fanele egxile impela yokuhlukunyezwa bayahlukunyezwa abantu besifazane amadoda-ke kuyasho ukuthi aye yasabukile lapho besifazane abahlukunyezwa kakhulu ney'ngane ahlukunyezwa khona ngoba desho nje khona amadoda nabantu ongababiza abayini abaziyo nje ukuthi nje unkosikazi nje unkosikazi into engenamsebenzi ingane abone ukuthi ingane yakhe ayizalayo intombi ayisakwazi nje manje ukugeza nje ingane phambi kwababa sekuyintombi lokho kufanele kungena ngazi kungaqoqwana kanjani kuyixoxo lento ukuthi phela hayi sesiyabo sekwenzekile hayi sekunzima kakhulu manje siyahlukunyeza sibadala hlukunyeza nayi ingane ezincane ney'ngane ey'ncane zihlukumeza ogogo konke lokho ngazi kungalungiseka kanjani ukuthi abantu bayitshele izwakale lento ukuthi manje sekumnandi ngoba iqaliwe iyakhulunywa lento iyariphothwa kubonakala ukuthi kungenzeki lutho kubona ngathi uma ngabe nokuthi nje singamakhosikazi kakhulukazi kufanele sihlangane kakhulu nathi sihlangane nje singakhethi ukuthi lona unkosikazi wakabani wakuphi wakani sihlangane sekwesenzinto eyodwa sikhale ngezwe elilodwa futhi hayi sikhathele siyahlukunyezwa siyabonga ngathi ngaqhubeka nje lokho niqalile kuke kuphume kuzwakale kukhulunywe ngaphandle ukuthi hayi sesikhathele bakithi siyahlukumezeka ingane zethu ziyahamba ziye ey'kolweni ayisabuyi yiwo amasoko njengoba ngisho ukuthi nakho le ngane lezi amasoka la nazo le ngane ziyawaheha nawo la madoda baze babarephe bafundiswe ukuthi faneke benze njani kuhlale phansi bafundiswe ukuthi faneke benze njani amantombazane and futhi nabafana bafundiswe amadoda angazi ngawafundisa kanjani ngoba amadoda la kodwa manje hayi aseyimzembe aseshintshile kuze kufike yabona bese kuthiwa kuye yabo lokhu bakudala lokhu ukuthi nje lena dala mawuganile fanele nje uyaziyo nje ukuthi umfazi fanele kwenziwe noma yini kuwe ngoba unkosikazi into yokuzala nje ufake iphinifu usebenze ayisekho sesiphuma semsebenzini masibuya hayi ukuthi ngangidlisile silekelelana ungathi ufika ubaba ngisiyaqedukona ufunda iphepha siphuma emsebenzini ngosiyasebenza akasekho umama wephinifu ohlala ekhaya konke lokhu sikubone nokuhlukunyezwa yabona sikuqede nalo esingasayifuni basayenza le ndaba yokuthwala kwey'ngane zethu asiyifuni le ndaba ukuthi uthwala uyoganiswa nkani ingane incane iphuma esikolweni nathi abazali sijabuliswe izinkomo ey'lethwayo ingane efanele ngabe iyafunda iyaphambili asinokuthi unkosikazi njengoba selotsheliwe yinto yokuzala nje hayi sekho leso sikhathi yikho kusihlalele phansi ihlale phansi sengijabulile seyiqalile speaker siwelele nangale-ke khona uspeaker lapho engilokhunja engilida khona kwesihlaleni siyixoxele impela le ndaba sisiphethe kabi kagoba kuyaqhubeka impela nje kuyaqhubeka ngisho nalapho uma uthi thuthu uyasiza la uyabona-ke sekuyilona-ke mhlawumbe uyakhankasa no asisabheki okunye manje uma uyinkosikazi nje unenkinga fanele siyeni sonke siqonde lapho siyolekelela sithi siyemaphoyiseni ngoba nokukhipha nje ukuthi ungazi ukuthi umkhipheleni ebereyibhile enze yonke into siyowubanga nje lo msindo kungabonakali ngingathi umsindo siwubanga yilaba bamabhulazi ahlaza no wonke umuntu sifundise ukuthi wonke uma ungowesifazane phuma ukhombise intukuthelo ngiyabonga okuningi sekukhulunyiwe kuningi abo sekukhulunyiwe fanele masiphume sikusprayda bakuze la madoda la angamadoda engingawazi ngiyabonga
Malibongwe. Siyabonga kakhulu kumama uDudu Mfuno with the contribution asenzele yona siyabonga kakhulu. Sengiphuthuma into yezandla Sipho Mhlongo ready? noma uRev Motha.
Ngiyabonga Speaker. Isukuthatha leli thuba ngibingelele upholo phezulu obukhona phakathi kwethu namhlanje. Ngibingelele uSpeaker usihlalo walo mcimbi. Ngibingelele wonke ama stakeholders akhona phakathi kwethu namhlanje. Cha, ngiyafisa ukuphakamisa ukuthi akusekuningi umuntu azokusho, mhlawumbe umuntu akabalule nje lokuthi ngoba sikhona sisonke la endlini singamadoda namhlanje saqala saba abafana, so okuningi kwethu ama issues ethu ayafana, so okuningi asebekushilo sebengikhavile. So mhlawumbe umuntu sephakamisela nje ukuthi afake nje input encane yokuthi liyabongakala kakhulu leli thuba leli elinjengaleli, especially ukuthi li sithole mhlawumbe before ngiqala angibonge lamadoda amadoda sema-Juba district ngokuthola le opportunity njenga thuba eliyinqayizivele. Mhlawumbe mina kungaba khona ukukhala ukuthi besifisa ukuthi ngabe kugcwele indlu la, kumele ngabe kugcwele nabantwana abancane la besifisa ukubakhulisa. Mhlawumbe kumusa kaNkulunkulu in disguise ekutheni kube khona thina siba amadoda phambili kwabo before le message ifinyelele kubo bengabantwana. So ngisho ukuthini lokho, ngisho ukuthi singamadoda nathi asisahlangani kakhulu. Umuntu usesho nje lokho makuthiwa uyafundisa ingane estradini ususho lokho sukucabanga noma indlela osukukhuliswe ngayo. Ngifuna ukuthini la isibonelo, ngifuna ukuthi njengoba ngusipho Mhlongo mina, by the way ngimelana njengoba ngila ngu public relations officer we CRA, Cultural and Religious Affairs, njengoba ngikhuluma. Unokudlulisa imessage le okhuliswe ngayo kaMhlongo. Mangasi imessage yakamhlongo imessage leno suku yizwe sontweni, mhlawumbe ngibeke example, angisho nje ngami example yami mina, ama values that are instilled within me mostly are from my father, nokuthi indawo. So having structures like anjengalawa whereby abantu beresearchile bekhuluma ngento yamanje, kubalekile ukuthi siphinde sicapacitate thina sisodwa kuze masidlulisa le message sidlulise bafanele sikhulume into yangaleso sikhathi, ngingakhuluma into engiyitshelo uMhlongo ngoba naye uMhlongo matches okunye engifundise ngakho akusiko konke engicabanga ukuthi ku 100% ngiyakuthatha. Kuhle ukuphinda uthole kuma structures nabantu asebehambile indlela njengoba udokotela uMatoma bekade esibekela. So umuntu ufisa nje mhlawumbe in simple ukuthi ama programs anjengalawo uyafisa umuntu ukuthi ngathi angaqhubeka kakhulu la eMajuba. Ngishiso nayi le example ayibekile ukubaleka kwayo ayithathe njenge joke, but in real life it's not a joke. It was a very profound message le ayivezile whereby eveza ugogo lapha ne ex ibaleke kakhulu. Mangabe ngithi ngiyayifunda ngibheka nakimi nami ngizizwe ngazathi kukhona la into engantenga khona, much as ngiregada njengendoda engathi ayimshayi umuntu wesifazane, kodwa mayiseyithathe isimplify unpackage ukuthi ke lokuthi mawukhipha imali e-restaurant nje uthenga bese ucabanga ukuthi ke uwe olidayo, kuningi kakhulu ama investment asuke senziwe umuntu wesifazane ngalokuba khona eduze kwakhe akunika ikhampani. Ngizama ukubuyela epointini lami ukuthi ke ama values akamhlonga se overridewa ile mfundiso engiyinikwa uMatoma manje kutheni nakho kunye ongakubheka oyayi ukuthathe for granted okwenzeka on daily basis ukuthi kufanele kwenzeke kanti hayi ngoba kufanele kwenzeke. So ke ibe namandla kakhulu kimi, ingavela njengokuthi bekuyijoke kodwa kube yiso ke isifundo sami namhlanje njengoba ngikhona la. Okunye hayi noma kungabalekile kubaleke kakhulu, kodwa mina emva kokuzwa leya message iye yanela kimi ekutheni kuvela uwishe lokho ukuthi ukhona umuntu wesifazane nje eduze kwakho, akudingi ukuthi aza kunike ini ebambekayo. So ke ilokho ke nje bengikudlulisa uku-eda konke osekukhulunyiwe ngiyahambisana nakho. Futhi ya siyafisa ukuthi ke indima enjengalezi ziqhubeke zibe khona. Siyabonga kakhulu Madam Speaker.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Speaker online sino Dyasi, National Deputy Secretary General sibe no Phumlile Mlambo. They also wanted to say something. And then after
Okay, thank you.
size kubaba Babu Mbota, and then ube so summarize again.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Phumlile.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Speaker. Thank you very much. Ngithanda ukubingelela to you, Speaker, and as well as Prof. I also want to greet everyone that is present with dialogue yanamhlanje. Okwami nje kuncane akuningi. I've got just 2 issues that I want to comment on, which are my contribution. Okokuqala ukuthi I think we really need to strengthen our programs for amadoda ey'ndaweni lezi rural areas la khona bengakwazi uku-accessa information efana nale esitholayo namhlanje. I think we need to strengthen ama-men's sectors kulawo ma-areas lawo. Okwesibili, i-contribution yami is in connection with ama-intergenerational dialogues. We need to have those intergenerational dialogues because I think we need to marry indigenous knowledge as well as contemporary knowledge. Knowledge yakudala as well as knowledge yamanje. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi kune vast of richness ye knowledge esinayo kubantu abadala engicabanga ukuthi abantu bethu abasakhulayo, the young men, they need that knowledge. It's so rich ukuthi it can be able to assist us kuma challenges na kuma social ills esinawo kwi current age yethu. But at the same time, we really need a contemporary knowledge, knowledge yamanje to assist us kubantu abadala okunama social ills akhona emphakathini, amanye ama-issues okuba sengathi kuyithaboo ukukhuluma ngayo, but at the same time we really need to tackle on those issues because abanye babantu abayi-part of i-community sometimes by feel as if they are not ingxenye yomphakathi ngenxa ukuthi indlela abayiyona noma indlela abazizwa ngayo is not accepted emphakathini. Ngizokwenza nje isibonelo like the LGBTI communities. Kuma communities ethu emphakathini kwesinye isikhathi akubi lula ukuthi babe easily accepted ngenxa ukuthi abantu abadala they are not as yet used to that. So I think we need to marry ulwazi lakudala as well as ulwazi lwamanje ukuze sizokwazi ukunqoba any social ill or any issue ekhona emphakathini that we need to tackle. Those are my 2 contributions.
Thank you very much, Phumlile Mlambo. Phumlile Mlambo azange sayichaza ukuthi ubani wakuphi, but I know her. She works there by Amahlangene municipality, okuyi-local district yethu esinayo lapha kwi-district usebenza khona as one of the public participation staff okanye ulapha ka-social. Can you please remind us, Phumlile,
social services Emahlangene.
Yes, thank you very much, Phumlile from Emahlangene. Umasipala ke lona izinto akhuluma ngazo ngizazi kakhulu, umasipala engiphuma kuwona ngokuhlala ekhaya kuse-Utrecht. So izinto akhuluma ngazo izinto esizaziyo kakhulu futhi kuwumasipala omncane onendawo zasemakhaya kakhulu. So siyabonga kakhulu Phumlile with that contribution, and siyathemba ukuthi since we got social services when uzosi-assist with those programs together with women's sector siwenzeni ama-programs. Uma siwakhuluma kanjena kumele siwenze. As a district we are always here to make sure such programs ayaqhubeka. Ngicela ubabotha then ngizovala ngo-Deputy Secretary. Babamotha.
Manibulele mama, ngiyalithuba ndilifumanayo. Bendizawuthi.
Okay, nobhala.
Yebo.
Ngicela uyibambe kancane ngizovala ngawe. Ngisacela sinikeze ubambotha umotha use council chamber then ngizovala ngawe nobhala.
All right.
Angibingelele ke Somlomo. Ngibonga nje ukuthola leli thuba nokumenywa e-ofisini lakho ukuthi ngize kule inhlanganisela. Cha. Cha, ngithi ngibingelela uSomlomo, ngibonge nakuma members engiwaficela ngaphakathi e-chamber. Ngicabanga ukuthi okokuqala nje angizethule ngendlela ecorrect. Ngunobhala from Edenhauser inhlanganyela yabaholi abakhona abahlukahlukene not izayoni kuphela ezingiqhamuke ezayoni mina but sihlangene nje singabaholi nje Edenhauser ngunobhala khona kuleyo nhlangano. So ngokwesikhundla ke ebandleni ngubishop ebandleni lama-CCAC. So lana into engiyitholile oqala engifisa ukuyindlulisa abafethu sibonga ngicabanga ukuthi sekuphele konke okufanele ngabe siyagraze namhlanje ngoba ngizwile ubekade sipresentela la ukuthi kuneyinhlelo zokuthi kwakhiwe isakhiwo. So ngiyacabanga leso sakhiwo sothi go through lesizisho namhlanje nezinye izinto abazokwazi ukwenza i-research bese bekwazi uyi-attend masinyane. But izintathu nje izinto bengifisa ukuthi siyiqaphele ukutheni zingasibambi kule program. I-issue ye-sustainability yale program. Sihlangabeze ziningi izakhiwo ezakhiwayo. Ngabikisa njenge-moral and regeneration movement eyasungulwa uPremier uSibundebele. Ayizange iphumelele yaphelela endleleni. Yenziwa yina ukungena kwaminister omunye. Ngathi angabasenzeka lento ekuthiwa i-hand over. Ukuthi bengikhanda ama-structures anje ngenhloso yokwenza ukuthi ungaqhubeka yini ngawo ayaphilisa ayasiza yini asize kangakanani ekutheni umphakathi usizakala. Bese kuba i-issue leyo nto yenza ukuthi izakhiwo zonke sizakhayo kuba ngathi senzela just to comply ingawusiza umphakathi kakhulu. Masingayinaka le sustainability ama-structures asuke siwakhile ingawenza umphakathi uphile. Bese ku-revival lento ngiyazi ke politically ke mhlawumbe ngenza ukuthi ngingazwakali kahle. Lento yama-scouts ey'kolweni nama-get guides yayilekela kakhulu ekwakheni umntwana. Ngiyakhumbula nje mina ngafunda uthisha wami uNyembe wayengifundisa ukuba i-scout, ngiwu-scout master. Wayesifundisa ukupheka iqanda lingekho ibhodo ufake kwi-foil uba somlilo ingashi i-foil. Kwakuthiwa ngenziwa kuba indoda. Kungako nje angisaba ukuthi ngiganiwe nje nomuza uqhaqheki ngoba kukhona okuningi engakufunda esikolweni ngekhula. So ngisho ukuthi ukubuya kwama-get guide nama-scout lezo zakhiwo lezo zizosilekelela kakhulu. Kodwa futhi singakukhohlwa ukuthi kukhona imfundiso eziningi esifundile emakhaya ezinye zazo uqinisile uzakuthi uqeda ukukhuluma ezinye zazo ezidinga ukushintsha. Ngiyabekisa nje ngiqeda kushada ngiqeda ukuthungela unkosikazi imoto wathi drive eMC ngekhaya elikhulu. Mayefika ungena nje ujabule nengane zakhe zobakhombisa ukuthi umyeni wami umenzele ini. Mayengena ngaphandle eqeda ukupaka imoto edilike ejabule ethi yongena kagogo sithi kagogo ke erondweni emakhaya. Uyambiza ubaba omkhulu uthi hayi we nkosikazi awuvele ngapha kagogo khona udatshana nawe solenzile ngelihle. Mayehlala phansi uthi hayi makoti awungeni la ekhaya ugovozile. Bolethe umtshela umkhonye fulani umkhonyane wakho alethe imbuzi azogeza umuzi kababa uthi ungena la ekhaya ugovozile. Uthi ngigovoze kanjani njengoba ushayela imoto nje uthe amadolo kusho ukuthi ugovozile. Isintu sala ekhaya sivumi lento. Yizinto lezi babezenza. Two mayise eyilethile imbuzi ufuna ngisuke ekhaya ngihambisa imbuzi. Mayise sehamba ntambama esephume ehamba. Kuthiwa hayi awuphumi la ekhaya ngemoto ngo-reverse. Funa uyijikise ibheke phambili. What if eThekwini nje kuyintaba kuphakeme uyojika kuphi lapho ujika ubheke ngasemgwaqweni ngoba mongena kanje uzophuma ngo-reverse noma kanjani ngoba imoto ingenele egarage. So ezinye izinto zazizinto zayikhule isimo sasivuma sasikahle. Uma singakwazi ukubafundisa nokubakhulisa kulezo zinto ukuthi isimo savuma manje sesime kanje sesakhe kanje emakhaya kuzokwazi ukuba right noma umntwana uzokhula ke naleyo ngqondo leyo mindset kanti isimo sisekho right. Elokugcina ke ngicabanga ukuthi lizosilekelela nalo kakhulu kuloko engikuphakamisayo la issue yelokhu njani yokulandelela ke le sibiza ngeaccountability siba nenkinga kakhulu ke ngempela uma sekufike silandelela ukuthi imisebenzi yenzeke lamakomiti yenzakala noma ama-program asunguliwe ngiyayisupporta kakhulu i-document ngizwile mase ivala i-document ade presenter ethi kufanele sakhe isakhiwo se-district kuma-locals kuma-ward emakhaya enkonzweni nasezikolweni kwenzela ukuthi wherever lo fika khona ufika usithole lesifundiso esi-right but ke into eshayisa ke kakhulu ukulungiseni ubuntu ukuthi siqhamuke emakhaya angafanani siqhamuke kwinkolo engafanani lento yenza ukuthi kube likhulu ukufundisa ingane ifundisa ingane nje ngiyakhumbula nje ngangisebenza ngexoxa ukusebenzisa le language ngangisebenza kwabasondiya ngiyayizwa usomndiya ngimsebenza kuye engadini uthi you are not so stupid uqala ukufika kwe-HIV and AIDS you are not so stupid ukuthi wena ungaba ne-HIV and AIDS positive uthi you are not so stupid yena i-culture yakhe uthi uyamkhuthaza umntwana but masulalela kusho ukuthi kulomunye o-HIV positive uyini u-stupid so indlela yala ngayo naye uthi yamthusa umntwana but lo mntwana mengakhuluma address ezinye izingane zingaphuma sezibhlungu ukuthi kusho ukuthi ubaba wami nje begula kanje uso stupid so indlela olawula ngayo noma oyala ngayo ufuna siphinde sikwazi ubafundisa ukuthi mabeyibheke in a long run yenze njani bese yokugcina regular prayers akasasekho umuntu emhlabeni olala njengenkomo athi mayolala angayithandazisa izingane zakhe ekhaya angenza inkonzo yokuthandaza athi nje bawothe sezulu kuphela bese yalala akasasekho leyo muntu because maye khona umuntu osenjengaleyo njengamanje nala endlini okhona umuntu onjengaleyo then we know ukuthi sinomuntu osafuze siyomkhansela awukwazi ukuyolala inkomo kuphela elala nje ivuke kusasa ifuna ithi livulwa ubani bese I pray ungene mayintambama kufanele ukuthi before ungene ekhaya uma ungene uzohlala abantu bami I pray ukuthi akukho engitholile indleleni okuzo affecta izingane zami i-future yeingane zami nomndeni wami wonke ukuprayela ukuthandaza usangena endlini uthi inkosi ngisize manje angiphethe lutho nge-right ngizongena endlini nabantu abami bazoba ba-right the regular prayers number 1 ukhiwa konke siwakhanda wonke ama-programs benemali zokurana ama-programs but nyasha ama-programs wonke awekho alastayo if singenabo abantu abazoba seduzane ukuyigada ukuthi lento iyafundwa and yenzeka and accountability is will be available ngiyaxolisa ukulula kangaka bengithe ngizoba mfishane kodwa ngenziwa ukuthi maningi ama-structures ngawabala uma ngawabala endlini ama-structures abekhona alekelele ukuthi umphakathi ubuyele esimeni kuba kude kakhulu ngiyabonga kakhulu umphakathi namalunga wonke ngiyabonga
Siyabonga kakhulu leadership, siyabonga kakhulu. I'm very happy. I'm so happy. Prof, I must say it. I'm very happy the way we are conducting this, our discussions, our contributions. I'm very happy. I so wish ngabe ngilapho, but this COVID-19 decided to deal with me. Anyway, Nobala, please come in. Dyasi, Deputy Secretary.
Yebo, manibulele Mama Somlong. Ndithathe lithuba nami ndibulisa ndingusiya kaNdesi u-DSG we-National Men's Sector. Siyabulela into abasibeve bonke abantu i-contributions zabo. What is important into abanye abantu xa bebeka i-contributions they also state fears in terms of the society where they are based. So siyazibulela ke nazona, but it goes back to what Dr. Hanaha has said, in whatever is the Takwani Men's movement, we are trying to address these systems. We are trying to get to the root cause of why we are here, why all these things are happening. So the most important part, hence we are doing these community engagements so that the communities can come up with solutions to address the issues that are in place in that particular community. So hence singazuza ne-solutions from other provinces, from other districts, from other local municipalities, but we are giving the community of Majuba to come up with these solutions and discussions. And the good thing, this process is not an event. And in Vilomnyubabe talk shop, it's not an event, but it's the process that we need to engage on, so that as the current generation, even if we didn't find the solutions, but the future generations that will come, they will refer to a document to say, those who were there before us, these are the things they were trying to address, so that they can know that the system that was there, that was against whatever that in terms of the human rights, it was in the process to be addressed. So let's refer to the document, and also to what Dr. Hanaka has said, that in whatever that we are trying to do, we are trying to put it in the system. Hence, it's important for this gathering, Somlo, ukuthi cherishwe nguwe, so that in the next council meeting, you'll be able to say what is the impact of amadoda in the society. So Lord, this is system to say that this is happening on behalf of men. And what is good about men, in most of the sectors, they are represented. It can be only a women's sector that we are not there as represented. When you speak of the traditional leaders, we are there as men. When you speak of all izinto atubaba bezikaliwe, the structures, most of them, mostly maybe they were led by men. So hence we need this revival, so that abantu bayazi ba ubaba uSibundebele, if wayiqalile moral regeneration, it was relevant then, it's still even relevant now. So it's not a matter of political struggles, but it's for us to bring up the concept to say that through this Tagwani Remembrance Movement and what we are trying to achieve as the men championing change, this is also relevant in terms, how do we integrate the concept of moral regeneration in terms of addressing the issues that are in place. So I'm saying this, Somlo, in each and every input was important in terms of crafting way forward. Even us as the Secretariat will sit down according to what has been discussed, and then we'll craft the document so that next time when you come to Amajuba, asuzuza nezinto eziqhamuke emoyeni, sizoza nezinto ebezithethwe ngabantu basemajuba. We find solutions around them. So siyabulela kakhulu ma.
Siyabonga kakhulu Nobhala, siyabonga kakhulu. Uzwakele kahle, siyabonga kakhulu. We really appreciate that. Siyafisa ukuthi masibuya sihlangana futhi sibe nama from this program esikuyona masisibuya futhi sikwazi ukurefer kuyona. We really appreciate that, siyabonga. Prof Dyasi, on your side, would you like to respond? Then we'll go straight to way forward, because maybe you can start by yourself or with Dr. Hanaka, but you.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I don't think kubalulekile ukuthi sibe defensive uma ngabe kunama issues ukuthi nje funeka mhlambe ukubheka phambili, kufuneka sibe careful ngoba umphakathi abantu babukele bafuna ukubona ukuthi sizophelelaphi, including criminals. I-criminals ziyazi ukuthi sihlangane namhlanje.
Yeah.
Ziyazi i-criminals ukuthi sawuphinde sihlangane futhi. I-criminals ziyazi nokuthi umongameli ukhuluma ngazo even on national television. Bayayazi nje ukuthi kukhulunywa ngabo, ukuthi nje into efuneka siyenze mhlambe thina ukuthi nathi i-plans zethu sizame ukuthi sizenze zibe ne-inhlelela si plan now bayas plan. In case you don't know, ama-criminals as-plana now. Lapho eGoli babulala abantu njengalana college. Ingane zethu umntwana bambulala bezi-pieces bamfaka eplastikini. Bazathi mabesibona ukuthi siyamatsha ngalento beze nezinye indlela ezintsha but basazabulala futhi. Noba sekuthiwa emaSoweto abantu bagujwe ezindlini kuthiwe umntwana utholwe phansi kwendlu esengamathambo washona 15 years ago ebulewe i-boyfriend bamgubhela endlini but mase beboshwa beza nendlela nale kaKarabo ukuthi ashiswe yayindlela entsha yokulahla i-evidence ukuthi kungabi na evidence. So nathi funeka manje uma ngabe sibheka phambili speaker sizama ukuthi manje siyovala itradi. uDr Khanaka ngisebenze naye kakhulu is more than 15 years and isikhathi esiningi besingazwani ema-meeting ngama ideology kodwa ikhonto besizwana ngayo. Angithi manikhokhela ngeke nizwane all the time but ikhonto besizwana ngayo. Into besizwana ngayo thina kuma-men sector ukuthi how about ukuvalwa itradi la eSouth Africa. Ke sithi manje siyakhuluma siyajabula ngathi siyazwana manje sine common goal. Ke sithi manje why kungavalwa itradi. i-ANC ke ingathi ngibuyisa ama-street committee. i-ANC yeze nama-street committees during 80s ngalesa sikhathi somzabalazo but sesikhuluma manje ngama-street champions. Ukhona ubaba ozenayo lawo akhuluma ngamadoda ayi-6. Umama ebekhulumela ukuthi amadoda ayi-6 aphelisa i-violence nobugebengu beyi-6 ngoba omunye wabo ebegetyengwa emayibuye emsebenzini bathatha i-decision ukuthi la siyavala manje. Why mhlawumbi ukuyenza lento ukuthi wena babukunene sithi manje masi-implemente manje ama-street champions. Senze sure ukuthi itradi zethu akunamuntu obulala omunye, akunamuntu orape omunye, akunamuntu ongazi ukwazi ukuya estopini ayogibela ibhasi ngoba esaba ingane yakho. Nokuthi usaba ingane zabanye abantu usaba ingane yakho ngoba ezindlini zethu sifihla igebengu. So mina into engiyijabulele kakhulu ngalomhlangano ukuthi lo mhlangano uba uyabheka Dr Khanaka awufani nale mihlangano ya national we talk policy. We talk policy a lot as a result ngaba confused la ukuthi bathini lawo because i-mandate yethu lapha yana is to advise i-government on policy. So sikhuluma language kaRamaphosa ne-cabinet but kuma provinces ubaba Mazibuko benza the same thing but influencer usihle zikalala on policy. Kodwa masifika kuma district as-expectanga ukuthi manje siqala ukukhuluma ngama-tongues. Sesikhuluma izinto ezingazwakali ukuthi sithini. Kufuneka lana manje sikhulume ngokuthi from here siyanjani kumasipala ngoba sivumelana ukuthi lawo masipala abayi-3 ingathi ngenza way forward kodwa angenzi yona. Siyanjani kulabo masipala abayi-3 from kulabo masipala mayo endoswa khona ke manje lento yokuvala itradi. Mina mangiyilalele lo mhlangano awungumhlangano ukuthi senze back and forth ukuphikisana ukuthi le nkulumo yakho ingcono le yami kuneyakho but ingathi siyavumelana ukuthi masiphumeni la sihambeni manje sekwi-communities via the municipality yaseNewcastle via omasipala bonke laba abayi-3 and then siye manje straight kwi-community. Mhlambe if ngoba sekubonakala ukuthi uDr Khanaka unothando ngale district ngoba amanye ama-district akawatreat ngale ndlela kayi kuwo but uzile la. Mhlambe sesicela yena uDr Khanaka ukuthi one of the street champions asemajuba zilontshe ngu-deputy president kodwa masephilile bakuthiwa akaphilanga manje akwazanga no-address iparliament. Masephilile simenzele iprogram ukuthi aze kule district silontshe lezi zinto esikhuluma ngazo so that abantu bangathi senze show izinto esizikhulumayo ziphele emoyeni. Nayo into engibuza kwethu lapha uDr Khanaka ukuthi ake a-check ukuthi in the next few months angeke akwazi ukudonsa uDeputy President ezela emajuba ke silontshe into ebe yi-1 esikhulume ngayo so that abantu babe nokusithemba ngalezi zinto esizikhulumayo. Mangime lapho speaker mina. Mute, okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I'm sure by putting a Deputy President, you can tell with the excitement. We'll sing a chapter like is Majuba district, Deputy President as a launcher one of those street committees, and also Commissioner Kono would say Esquenza Prof sikhulume siphinde sequence engijabulisa kakhulu. Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Speaker. I think mine is just to answer. There was one question. Most were comments, so we appreciate the comments, and I think Sonke, we've heard each other. The question, around funding, I think you asked about resources. Practically, we actually have engaged no Deputy Minister of Social Development, but Sakala Dalo Kuluma. Program, one of the programs that I showed the presentation was the launch of the Men Championing Change. Yes, I launched a but 2018, but following several discussions, sa convince Department of Social Development to channel funds to provinces through DSD's NECs for Men Championing Change program. DSD agreed on that program. SG, if I'm not mistaken, either Imali already in the province or it says because of technicalities. But from a policy point of view, there has been an agreement for men's sector to be funded directly in provinces. But we are going to have a meeting that will invite all the leaders, both in provinces and districts, with the Deputy Minister. Actually, we've already agreed. We're just looking at the schedule. You will be part of that meeting where we'll discuss this matter that you've just raised. So that, and then once we've had that meeting, we will then, depending on what we agreed on, we'll probably need also a meeting with the MECs of the provinces jointly, so that we draft a common program as immense sector. That's one. The second part, for me, is more linked to this one. In national animal, you can look at those of you in government, know that any national department has no money. In Maluma province, if you understand government budget, the presidency, you can ask just. The presidency is probably the most broke department. The budget level like, but if you check Yagma province, Iba more, because that's where implementation happens. So the point here I'm raising is that must kulmange resources. Let me just warn you up front, my leader. National. Forget Imali Ila who KZN province. As men of KZN, man kuma ngoma resource mfundisi. Fana kuma ne premier biza ma MEC wonke. Ama MEC a pledge kuma budget wabo. Ukuthi bazopartner kanjani namadoda. Because that's where the money is. Ama masipala angithi sinokungakhokha ama electricity nani. So kunokuba nzima. But now speaker, imasipala ina something. And into emnani ngemasipala is that imali yakho ayifuna ama districts ay11. Ifuna I districts ay1 nje. I district yakho. So the point here I'm just raising, Wakunene, is that not ukuthi ngiyakulahla, but like Dyasi has just said, more national, we just influence policy because you can't implement, you can't stop gender-based violence at national. Just like I presented that diagram. At national, it's more about influencing policy to bring a program. But implementation, even us as national leaders, we don't implement because we implement our whoop. And implementation so it's you at districts who must be funded, and that funding, I don't mean to raise politics here, but I'll just say it. Be loose or be tight. You must actually demand it. And I'm raising that, Speaker, in your presence because these issues that you are dealing with, they are more costly if we don't deal with them. The municipality ends up spending more money. If you look at the budget of looking after a prisoner, a criminal, that budget could fund when I'm fundis to look after that boy outside. You've converted 600 prisoners. I'm just making a practical example. But resource, if the money that the state is spending for those 600 was channeled to programs like yours outside to look after the very same people, would afford spending this. So we're already spending the money. So we mustn't pretend like we're not spending the money. We're scared the cost of death, because that one you can't even price it. And it costs a generational, because the child grows up without a mother and the cycle of poverty continues. So when I say demand, it's not like it's a favor to fund prevention. It's something that the province and districts must just do. So on the issue of funding, I just want to raise that, but look out for communication. We'll communicate as soon as the meeting so that we draft a proper structure and a structural arrangement of funding our programs to respond to developmental issues. The others were comments, but a comment that really touched my heart was Umama Lopumile around the structure. I think we cover really very comprehensively to say issues of structures, we must take them very serious, we must protect them, we must build structures from Ekaya Ndlini to Istrat, like Prof Dyasi has just said, to the ward. We know we have ward-based teams, all the way, and then those structures on the ground, use of that will feed the local men's parliament. And then the local men's parliament will feed the district, and then district will feed the province, so that by the time we go to national, Lama reports they are true reflection of the state of Amaju and its local municipalities and its communities. So on that note, we really appreciate the engagement from our side, and we look forward to the strengthening of this program. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, because we do have ladies here. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart ukuthi kunamadoda ngempela out there acabanga lendlela akona wonke amadoda ayilwane noma anodlame, but siyabona. And thank you very much, Deputy Chairperson Prof Dyasi, as well as the Deputy Secretary nationally, Undisi. Thank you very much, Siandisi. We really appreciate your comments. I'm mentioning you guys because you're national, and you know very well what each and every province or district in my challenges are sugar, but for making sure that you are connecting with us, you are availing yourselves for such programs. And siyathemba futhi siyaqinisekisa ukuthi moving forward qhubeka siwenza ama-programs anjengalawo futhi sizowenza umehluko emphakathini, noma singeke siwenze overnight noma ngeke siwenze after this program then kusasa sekuyi umlingo yonke into, kodwa kancane kancane sizowenza umehluko, break these chains, because uma sizohlala sigoqa izandla sithi kuyafana singenzi lutho sobe sidlala ngabantu bakithi ikakhulukazi. I'm also noting ama-apologies alikho engena. We are noting usihlalo we-province ngathi kune-meeting asethe uphuthuma kuyona, kanti namakhosi aseNdlunkulu ngiyathemba nobunile aphumile lapho anenye i-meeting kaCocta bekumele aphuthuma aye kuwona, so azange ukuthi aqede i-program nathi kodwa afakile isixoliso. Ngiphinde ngokukhethekile ngixoxisela umeya we-district belikhethe uzosijoyina abakuhamba isikhathi kodwa sengiyabona sesifike ekugcineni akaphilile kahle, so uzoqala kadokotela ekuseni base yasijoyina, so ngibona siyaqeda kakwazange ukusijoyina, so I think it's proper for me to formally launch his apology so that izoba recorded. Namanye amakhansela angangazange ukuthi ajoyine, kunama-council meetings kweminye imasipala esinayo Prof kuma-locals, so sithe abaqhubeke nama-council meetings nathi sizoqhubeka nomcimbi wethu because i-culture yokupostpone akuyona i-culture yethu at all, so sithe sizoqhubeka, but ngithi nje ngikuveze ngokucacile. But siyabonga kakhulu all participants, discussions, and I'm sure wherever you are ready with way forward and resolutions ebesiwathatha lana sizofisa ukuthi sipresentele wona, and also make ama-additions mhlambe uma khona esibona ngathi kusalile kona, because the resolutions are very important when we're having such programs, because asinika into yokuthi we have to keep on referring ourselves okanye esikwenza sirefer to those resolutions, because we are running away from into yokuthi we are doing ama-talk shows, as Pastor Mbulelo sebeshilo ukuthi sihlale sikhuluma ngathi nje we are doing this for fun. If bekuya ngani ngoba bengichaza futhi ngezwe lekhe kuvela ukuthi bancane abantu abala besizothola ihall enkulu, if uzokhumbula Prof Dyasi sasithe sizofuna ihall enkulu sizo-accommodate abantu abaningi, so ngesimanga ese-lockdown masa-COVID-19 asikwazanga ukuthi sikwenze lokho, but siqhubekile sakwenza lokho esikwazi ukwenza, and ngiyazi sikwenze namhlanje kuzowenza kakhulu umehluko kumadoda athendela was. So very happy ukuzwa uSipho Mhlongo commenting about the video ovizile chairperson dokotela le kamama lo bekhuluma isizulu, but sikwazile ukuthi sigcine sithole ukuthi kwenzakalani. Imshintshile yena eyedwa ekhona namhlanje, bawungakho azophuma ngaphandle baxoxele bashintshe nabo. So ngizama ukuveza ukuthi each and everything esenze namhlanje akukhathaliseki ukuthi besibawungakhi besibangakanani, which platform besisebenzisa, but we managed to touch impilo zamadoda asemajuba district. I'm very happy and siyabonga kakhulu. I'll just give the municipal manager the opportunity to present to this August House the resolutions or the way forward that besiwakhuluma ngawo namhlanje noma esiwathathile, and I'll also welcome the additions if any. But I trust this man. Manget, it's over you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I would like to pay my respects to yourself, Speaker. Amakhosi aseNdlunkulu ondabezitha. In absentia, the provincial chairperson of the forum, abaholi bezenkolo, nalaba abaholi CIC jikela ngakubona uma sesihlabekile ngemikhuhlane abalaphi bendabuko. Ngifisa nokuzwalisa ukubonga kwethu, Speaker, ngama colleagues of Professor. I've been listening here and taking our notes. I will make sure whenever I share with the colleagues, management, and our municipal managers, my counterparts, I want community plagiarism. I will cite our professor to say, these are not my views, but these are their views. I found them to be inspiring, and I think today's meetings, Speaker, I told Umfowethu Utami, our manager, Uguti, I will sit back, listen, and get inspired so that whenever I deal with issues of the administration, I'll do so moving from the point of view of being empowered. So indeed, today I am grateful, Speaker Uguti, I was part of this session. I wish to confirm Uguti, I've been part of the meeting since the meeting started. It's just that I wanted to make sure Uguti, I listen, and I listen attentively. So, Speaker For your information, I know what she will facilitate suspension outside this. Yesterday, I had a very good discussion with the speaker where I wanted her to remind me as to when was she inaugurated as speaker. Now, we were talking about other issues, but I wanted to find out from her as to whether she still remembers as to when was she inaugurated as a speaker. Fortunately, she remembered, and she reminded me, Uguti, she became a councillor and a speaker in March last year. Speaker, if I may disclose the reason why, or the reasons why I asked that question, I wanted to compare your time or tenure in office with things that you have done since you became the speaker of this municipality. I can say without any fear of a contradiction, Uguti, Speaker, with your management in this municipality, we are proud of being led by, this is what will lead into my suspension. We are proud of being led by a young lady who today converted into being a man, but indoda ngesizulu. Speaker, thank you very much. Let me say thank you very much. Your office is seen to be championing the cause of the emancipation of our people, particularly the black race. Now, as Amajuba District Municipality, I would like to say, Uguti, we are fully behind all campaigns that are aimed at ensuring that men become men. Not nje abantu besilisa, you know, ukuthi kuthiwa sonke ngoba naku kunjalo, then we are making sure ukuthi all programs, all attempts and initiatives that are initiated by the speaker and other leaders, and we will support those and we will canvass some resources so for that those programs to see the light of the day. Speaker, I'm just making this commitment on behalf of my or our management. With that, I would like to request Umfowethu Utami, our activist manager, to beam or flout our recommendations. Speaker went through the way forward, and I'll be presenting them on her behalf for the consideration of the meeting. Tami, could you please beam Amalona Mfanagit? Speaker, we must be careful. I think the meeting is comprised of doctors, professors, and reverends, and it's only you and me who does not have this title. Tell me, are you winning?
I'm taking notes. I think on the following program,
Don't worry, Speaker, so gloomy is a lot.
But we are inspired, really.
Yeah. So, but Speaker, I'm grateful as I mean, this program is a groundbreaker really in this municipality, I can tell you. It's a groundbreaker, and I'm told that we are on Facebook. Tommy, are we winning? Okay.
I can confirm that we are live on YouTube and also on Facebook.
Wow, I got a message from my daughter who's in Cape Town now today. Is it true that how much you on Facebook? I said, hey, well, I'm not sure, I don't know. Okay, Tommy, let's push, good.
Yeah, it's beamed to Swat Kubega Maget.
Oh, it's beamed?
Yes.
But I'm seeing your face.
It's beautiful. What's in?
Should be seeing it on the screen. I remember when I saw the good doctors presenting that their presentations were on the screen. Okay, is that one that was sitting next to you? Mangeta, you can proceed, it's beamed. Okay, great. Okay, I'll read them from my side then. On behalf of our speaker, the Honorable Councillor P.S. Mqina, I would like to present and request input and lastly propose or request for the adoption of the draft way forward, which is part of the Amachuba District Municipalities public participation, boys and men against violence of women and children. And the meeting is held on Friday, 24th July 2020. Now, firstly, the speaker on behalf of the meeting requested that I commence or start by presenting an affirmation which derives its strength from the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and the National Development Plan injunctions, which are as follows. 1, that South Africa belongs to all its people. Umzansi lo ungowethu sonke. We, the people, belong to one another. We live the rainbow. Our homes, neighborhoods, villages, towns, and cities are safe and filled with laughter. That is reflected or was reflected and evident in today's session. Through our institutions, we order our lives. We give shape to that which we want to achieve as the people of South Africa. Lastly, in terms of these, the constitutional and the NDP's injunctions, the faces of our children tell of the future we have crafted. Speaker, in terms of these affirmations, I believe this will form the basis and inspire us in terms of moving towards the realization and achievement of the outcome of today's session. If I may then talk to the way forward, we have only 11 points which form the proposed way forward. 1, that Amachuba District Municipality acknowledges and confirms its understanding and respect of the role of men, young and old, in the development of the community and of families. 2, that men and women were born free, equal, and with full and equal dignity. 3, that the past divisive legislation, beliefs and myths that downplayed and denigrated women and their role in society shall and must belong in the past. 4, that the launch of the men's parliament to be strengthened, or that the men's parliament to be strengthened and resourced for it to execute its mandate, goals, and objectives. 5, that all interested societal structures and stakeholders to be identified and invited to take part in the activities and programs that are aimed at advancing the fight against the abuse of women and children in the district. 6, that with the support of the national and provincial sector departments and within the context of the district development model, resources to be mobilized to help with the achievement of the objectives of the agreed upon programs. 7, that all stakeholders in Amachuba District Municipality will work towards ensuring that all responsible men in the community form part of the fight against the abuse of women and children and drugs. 8, with the cooperation of all, we will and must work towards having regular dialogues where issues such as these will be ventilated and resolutions found. 9, that the fight against the curbing of the spread of COVID-19 and other diseases to be intensified will correct the end. 10, that local structures to be revived and programs developed. 11, that meetings to be held quarterly with the local municipalities in the district establishing their structures. 12, which is the last point, that issues of social and economic development to be prioritized so as to attack the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality in the district at their core. Speaker, in terms of the strategic approach, the meeting reflected and agreed and also emphasized that at the center of our programs should be families. In other words, the basis of any program or projects that will initiate and implement should be a family. So in other words, we need to strengthen our families. I mean, there was even an example where it was said that a family that goes to sleep or eats without praying, then that family is doomed. Secondly, we need to create or establish or revive street-based structures. An example was made of the street committees which were established for the purposes of advancing the objectives of the liberation struggle around the 80s. So the concept was good and it worked. So all what the meeting reflected on was for the revival of these structures in a form of street-based activist structures. Thirdly, we also should look at operating and creating structures that will operate at a ward level, local municipality level, and therefore ensure that all those fit into the structure of the district. In fact, you will see, the meeting will see that the speaker suggested that this becomes a two-way process where it won't be like a top-down or a bottom-up kind of an approach, but all structures in this scheme of things should be able to interact, interface, and work with each other in an equal, collaborative, and at the same level going forward. So this is what the meeting reflected on. Speaker, as it is said, together we can do more. I thank you, Somlom.
Thank you
Speaker,
very much.
I will therefore leave it for Speaker to get our comments and adoption of the way forward.
Okay, thank you very much, MM. Thank you very much, MM, for that presentation. Indeed, it was the true reflection of the meeting that we just had, or the program, or the conversation, or discussions, or contributions that we just had in this program. Thank you very much. Before we move, we need to adopt the resolutions. Before we adopt them, I'll open the opportunity for us to make some additions, if there are additions. And corrections, if there are corrections. Prof. Dyasi, I'm noting you. Then we'll adopt this resolution so that they can form part of our documentation in our region or in our district so that we can keep on referring ourselves forward. Prof. Dyasi, you may come in.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to adopt anything. It's your meeting in Majuba. I just wanted to correct, we are not proposing street committees. I'm talking about street champions. Each street champions, even if amadoda i-5 or amadoda i-2, even if i-1, this approved by National Council of Provinces of the Cape Town. Thank you so much.
I don't know, it's my network or it's this, but I couldn't get you, Prof. Prof. Dyasi, if
No, Speaker,
I was saying,
yes.
Instead of street champions, we'll be implementing street champions, not street committees. We are this program in Parliament here, with the National Council of Provinces and Office of the Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Okay, Tammy, can you please assist on your side? I didn't get properly.
Avoid good abantu net city street committees, but
Somlom.
Politics or political structures. This one, you can be street champions.
Prof uthi ucela silungise kule ndawo yama street committees. City street champions because it's been a program that has been adopted by the NCOP at Parliament last year on the 7th of November with the Office of the Deputy Minister. So uthi nje usicela silungise kulaa ndawo ithi street committees, sithi ama-street champions, because ngabo baba in that particular street who needs to be champion.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Nopala. Sekla Nopala, I think siyayithola kahle. I'm sorry, Prof. Dyasi, we didn't get you properly. So you were breaking Maukuluma on our side. So Sekla Nopala, as a Deputy Secretary, was elaborating more with. But I think you managed to catch that. And Silung is not street committees, but street champions. Thank you very much. Can you please adopt our resolutions as a district? Prof. Dyasi, no Dr. Hanaha, I won't be recognizing your hands. I'm sorry. Yes. Slalo, where district? Kunene? Open your mic. Imic yakivalekile Slalo.
Isivulekile.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Bendithi, I move for adoption of my resolutions.
Thank you very much. Any seconder?
Somlomo, Professor Mbulelo.
Yeah.
I also adopt, recommend, promise ukuthi must adopt, because this is a true reflection of today's meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the adoption. I think as adoptiwe sesiyafaka kuma documents ethu, and I think Prof. Dyasi as well as Dr. Hanaha bazokwazi ukuthi bahambe nawo babone kuyiwona nathi ngilanga masenza ama programs based on those resolutions namhlanje. Siyabonga kakhulu sesifike egcineni komhlangano noma ku program yethu yosuku esiqala ekseni. Ngibonga kakhulu kona wonke umuntu othe wa participate, connected, waphinda futhi sekuconnectile, wa contribute to this dialogue yabantu besilisa besi organized ku district yaseMajuba. We really appreciate that. Dr. Hanaha, Siyande Sekela Nopala, Secretary General, siyabonga kakhulu from your side, Fige, and as well as the national team, as the national representative. I didn't get the name properly from what DSD. If you can remind me, someone from what DSD or connected from national.
Sino Comrade Nomfundo from the National Department of Social Development and the Ulakwi Chamber. And then siphinde sibe no Lucky Gwebu online, Lucky Gwebu National Executive Committee member, Yemen sector, and then siphinde sibe namalungu secretariat ebasijoyinile uThambu Muzenda olapha ya ofisini yeTakwaneri ime, and then siphinde sibe sinabanye ke due to connection uSispolin Maketa usekhona besinayo noThapelo Moloto. So thank you very much, Nathi. We enjoyed this meeting. It be different from other meetings we used to attend.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Nobala, uthethile kalokhu siyabonga. Asihlalo we district, a proper vote of thanks from your side. Xolani kunene sicela usiphe vote of thanks, then bese siyavala. Usihlalo ke lo we men's sector with district yethu uXolani kunene. Over to you Xolani, usibongele sesibongile kodwa phinde futhi usibongele njengosihlalo. Siyabonga.
Ngibonge Somlomo, ngithathe nje lelithuba ngibonge nje i-support eloku iqhubekayo from ku-SANEC main sector at the national office. Sibonge from the office laka speaker. Siyabona ukuthi kukhona la engathi siyakhona. Besilokhu sigijima impela kodwa sesithole manje ukuvuseleleka. Sithola amapheya amasha wezicathulo zokugijima. Sizoqhubeka sigijime speaker, siyathembisa Sibonge kubafundisi abathe basijoyina namuhla bonke. Sibonga amakhosi asendlunkulu, amakhansela abekhona nalawo esithole ama-apology wabo. Sibonge kwi-civil society, sibonge bokugatsheni, siyabonga kakhulu. Sibonga umama-ke. Ngiyakhumbula eminyakeni eminingi edlule besithi uma sihlangana singamadoda kufike lesa sikhathi kuthiwe sicela omama baphume ngaphandle sizoxoxa iy'ndaba zethu. Siyabona ukuthi mhlawumbe ngakho gcina singafinyelelanga ndawo ngoba sicabanga ukuthi siyazi. So kubambisana nomama, iphiko lamanina, siyabonga kakhulu ubuholi obukhona. Operation Sokumasakhe, sibonga kakhulu. Ngizwile indaba ye-structure ukuthi sizo-report at the district level. Bamahlubi, you can rest assured ukuthi uzosibona, sikhona, sizoba khona, soqhubeka sibe khona. Lokubambisana nje siyabonga kumkhandlu wethu wasemajuba. Engingasambalanga ngiyaxolisa kakhulu, kodwa sibonga kini nonke enitheni abakhona kulo hlelo lanamuhla. Sithi singamadoda asemajuba asiyeni phambili, siqhubeke nomsebenzi. Enkosi. Siyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu Sihlalo, siyabonga, siyathemba ukuthi kuzwakele kona wonke ama-stakeholders. Umthwalo omningi esiwushiya kuwena Sihlalo. Thina njenge-district or njengomasipala, we're here to support you in all ways. We need to give them support ngazo zonke iy'ndlela because they are also a stakeholder esingaphansi kwa-public participation esithinta umkhandlu wethu futhi. So as umkhandlu, we are confirming or we are availing ourselves in own ways ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sisebenzisane ukuya phambili. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi umhlangano wethu usufike ekugcineni okanye iprogram yethu. Ngokulandelayo siyathemba ukuthi masiyenza u-COVID-19 uzobe usuphelile, lockdown uzobe usuphelile, levels azobe sephelile, sizokwazi ukuthola indawo enkulu, siphinde futhi accommodate abantu abaningi because siyafisa ukufinyelela kubona wonke umuntu okhona. Vuma Nkosi, you are late. We are about to close our meeting, but I guess siyakwamukela, siyakubona you are joining us. Sisivala. Sicela umama uKoloka, uRef Koloka asivalele ngomthandazo. I know ukuthi ukudla kulungisiwe lapho, guys, enjoy yourselves. Sicela uma asibongele. Siyabonga mama uKoloka.
Nathi singakuthola ukudla ngapha.
I so wish.
uNkulunkulu onamandla wonke, sithemba ukuthi uzosipha amandla uNkulunkulu oyingcwele ukuqhubeka nalo msebenzi ubeke phezu kwamahlombe ethu njengabantwana bakho. Akwaba umusa weNkosi yethu Jesu Kristu, uthando lukaBaba uNkulunkulu nobudlelwano bukaMoya oyingcwele engathi bungehlela kuthina sonke uNkulunkulu asilondoloza sigcina manje kuze kube phakade. Amen.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Our program is officially closed. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sihlalo oweprovince siyabonga. Mazibonge ngibona ufaka apology ukuthi uyahamba uphinde uyabuya kusengiyakubona. Siyabonga kakhulu. Ngihambe kahle Prof Dr. Khanaga Nomfundo. Where are you Nomfundo? Ngicela ukukubona. Nomfundo. Hello. Hi.
Hey, what a great program, man.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Great program.
We really appreciate.
Speaker ube ngcono mntama.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Nomfundo. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Deputy Speaker.
Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ukhona.
Yeah.